That's right, folks. people start texting me. It's my fault though. I didn't text them back earlier, like people was texting me earlier. Was not in a great mood. I'm exhausted. Hence the title. It's called Exhausted. And I'm yelling over the music that I have this loud. And I probably should play in the background. You know, I look at other people's sets. They don't have a big fan in the back of them. But you know what? I'm starting to like it more and more. Like the fan weights on the floor. Weights will be in the air. So the weights will be on the floor. And I actually didn't play this music out ahead of time, like hear what it's gonna sound like, and I didn't know that this is a song called Kid A by Radiohead. And I'm not liking this mix. This is a fan-made remix of the song. So I'm not loving the mix. And I actually might want to play the real thing. So I'm gonna see if I can find it. It's a great song. Okay, let me stop yelling now. I'm yelling over my own music when I can simply turn the music down. Where am I speaking into? Right, I'm speaking into here, Mike. Yeah, I can simply turn the music down, but yeah, I'm too stupid for that. I don't have a news story today, and that stuff will come later on. Today was a hell of a day of exhaustion. I've been a little bit exhausted and been a little bit tired. So, sorry, I was watching, and I don't know if you guys watch a lot of football. I watched football Sunday, football. I watch football Saturday and Sundays. I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy, so congratulations to us and our Cowboy fans. Congratulations to Dallas Cowboys and us as fans. Dak Prescott. I can't believe I messed his name up the other day and called him Dax Shepard. I will never forgive myself. Of course, now here comes the mosquitoes because I just closed up everything. Even though I was in here for about 2 hours before the show started. And, I come in here to, find stuff out on the internet or find something to talk about, find the news of the day or whatever, because I don't watch TV like that. In this camera, in this view, you can't see that I have the TV on now. But it's on sports. I'm watching ESPN. And I'm so stupid. I'm watching ESPN right now before the game comes on, and that's what I want to talk about a little bit right now, real quick. Let me do the show officially. Hello, hi, and welcome, folks. My name is RPJ. This is the RPJ show live by way of Florida, America. Yeah, I'm in Florida, America. Going to be here for a few more years. And sorry, I'm distracted by the TV now. However, anyway, so I'm going to be here for a while. I'm going to make this work. This is my thing. This is business too. So I have a business that is not great, and then this is my second business, and I put everything into it. Every dollar I get and dollars that I have in my mind that I will get will go for this. I don't know, and if I had more time in the day, or if I wouldn't, check that. Like today, I had time to do stuff. I'm just so exhausted. Like I've been taking antibiotics. Like I had a box of antibiotics. And so I have this chest thing, this lung thing going on, coughing up phlegm, I don't know if I'm being cursed or not, but Yeah, I got this thing going on in my chest. And I'm coughing up a lot of phlegm. I was coughing up a lot of phlegm. Now I seem to be on the other side of it. I still probably am pushing myself too much. You know, I try to do all I can do, you know, with my family, my children, my grandchildren, not my children, but my children. Well, my children as well, talking and stuff. I'm probably trying to do too much. I got that little ADHD thing going on. And welcome to the show, So Fresh, So Clean. Thank you for stopping by. I got that little ADHD thing going on. I've always had it as a kid, and I still have it now, that I just got to be constantly doing something. And sometimes it's not always positive. Sometimes it's a negative. I do some negative stuff or shit sometimes. Excuse me for cursing. But, you know, I'm trying to make everything work well so I can be happy where I'm at. Is the Zika virus in Florida? I have, you know what? I don't even know. I don't watch TV, so I don't know what's going on medically here or around the environment. I don't know. I don't check out my own area. I haven't done my due diligence to learn the criminal codes here, like, you know, learn your rights here, because I like to, wherever I go, I like to learn my rights of wherever county, country, you know, I like those things. Like, I haven't even done that, even when I was here the first time. So, and now I haven't done it again. I mean, it's just been a very tough few days for me. I'm just exhausted, and I'm doing some wrong stuff as well. Trying to have a life. You know, I had that unfortunate situation where I kind of had this lady that I, you know, dated earlier when I first got here. You know, that came to an end. And then, you know, I'm still dealing with the ramifications of that, because I get the, you know, text messages, phone calls. I'm still about that. And then I have a new situation where I will, like this Saturday, I will not be here. I'll be out. I've already laid money down. You know, already set things up, basically. You know, it's not a sure thing, but you know, I try to plan out ahead of time. You know, I don't want to be like the last minute, like, hey, you know, this is where, you know, I try to go here to this place, this hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, and it's all booked up. So I didn't wait till the last minute. I know it's presumptuous of me to think that everything's going to be a home run type situation. But, you know, I'm pretty confident, and things usually work out really well. And, you know, hopefully everything works out well, or not. It won't break my heart if things don't happen. You know, I'm a very charming guy. Anyway, I want to talk about that type of stuff. Where was I going? Oh, so yesterday I was watching the football games. That's all right. I didn't plan out the show because I was just I was opening up my mind to let anything that comes across my palate by watching the internet. Blah, nameless, welcome to the show. RPJ gonna get some? I don't know. I mean, it's never a home run. It's never a sure deal. Although I was pretty sure enough that I went and, you know, booked the place just in case. And then worst case scenario, I just go there and just to get away from it all anyway. So it ain't gonna hurt. That's just to have that place available for myself anyway. So, anyway, yesterday I was watching football, and again, you know, congratulations, Cowboy fan, Cowboy Nation, congratulations to us. But I was watching the Giants-Redskins game. Odell Beckham is the blonde hair, curly hair, blonde hair, African-American wide receiver for the New York Giants. Very emotional, is a bit of a dancer and prancer, and you know, he was having, you know, the entire sports world, entire football world had all eyes on him and his matchup with Josh Norman. Damn it, mosquitoes! Jesus Christ! Right in my face. As soon as I turn the fan off, the only reason I turn the fan off because I don't want. Is it more than one? I think it's like 2 mosquitoes in here. All right, I'm gonna try with the fan on because I need to keep the mosquitoes off of me. I don't want any issues with mosquitoes. Hopefully you guys can still hear me well. I don't want to be. I don't mind being bitten or stung by mosquitoes and stuff like that. I just don't want to get stung and bit in the face. Not, but they sting you, right? Mosquitoes, they put a stinger in you, suck the blood. So I guess they bite you. Their stinger is a biter. So they put that flute in you, and then they suck the blood out of you. So I guess that's penetrating your skin. I guess it's a bite. I don't know, mosquito bite. Fucking. Anyway, I'm getting all over the place. Those mosquitoes freak me out. I'm in Florida. It's mosquito season. I had the whole place open up back here. This is the workout computer room. And I spend a good portion of my day every morning. I come in here, I turn on the computers, listen to weights, blah, 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 blah. I'll talk about that later. So yeah, I was watching the Giants wrestling game. Odell Beckham with his matchup for the Giants. He has the blonde hair. He's a dancer. He's a football player, but he likes to dance around. He's very emotional. His matchup was so made up, so big in his mind, in his head. And the media talked about it all week long, this, that, and the other, with Josh Norman, who now plays for the Washington Redskins. And they had a meeting earlier, I guess last year, when Josh Norman was playing for the Carolina Panthers and Odell Beckham Jr. was playing for the New York Giants last year. And they had a big matchup, fighting all over the place, all kind of crazy emotional nonsense. Well, not emotional nonsense. It's just, one-upsmanship. You're not going to better me. You're not going to best me. It's sports. It's competition. I get that. As a guy who plays football, as a wide receiver, quarterback, and on the defensive end, on the defensive side of the ball as well. I understand, those matchups. You want a guy, if a guy is maybe not is trying to manhandle you in one game, and you get a chance to go back at him, you want to get the best of them. But you don't want to lose so much focus on me. This is me talking about how I deal with, as a semi-pro football player, how I deal with those matchups. So, and the guy's talking crap. It's all big news. It's a big game. All games in the NFL are big games anyway. So I understand the competition. I want to get back. Hey, this guy, beat me on a route. If I'm playing in a safety as a cornerback or safety, depends on when I was fast and young. When I was younger and faster, I could play the corner. Anyway, I'm getting into too much detail about me. But I do understand competition. You want to get back at that guy or that person or that team, no matter what. They bested me. I want to best them. And it's so blown up now. So this is what happened with Odell Beckham Jr. yesterday with Josh Norman. If you guys didn't see it, and if you did see it, I'm going to have my perspective on this, that, and the other about it. So they are going back at it. And at one point, Josh Norman is picking up Odell Beckham like a child, taking him towards the sideline and then dropping him in front of the referee like a baby. So I'm thinking Odell Beckham is so geared up and he's so mad now. He's been embarrassed a little bit. Then the game is out of, the game is being played and he wants more passes, I guess, or whatever the case may be. Things didn't go right. And then he's on the sidelines. He's taking his helmet. He's smashing over stuff. He kicked over some equipment, not some more. And it's loud, right? All I hear is this now. Let me make sure I go that way then. So, and he's knocking stuff over with his helmet. Odell Beckham Jr. knocking stuff over his helmet. And, he's ranting and raving up down the sideline. He knocks him over like a kicking equipment, a kicking gear, a kicking net. And it came back and smacked him in the head. Got caught on camera with this being done. Completely embarrassed himself. Going up and down the sidelines, have to be consoled by other players. Oh, come on. Damn mosquito. Gotta be consoled by other players. And at one point, he's got tears running down his eyes. He's crying. Not just one tear, multiple tears are coming out of this guy's eyes. A football player crying. The emotions overwhelmed him so much so that he started crying. Grown men crying. Now, I ain't saying when you cry, you lose the championship game, this, that, and the other. I can understand that. You put so much effort into trying to win a championship that to lose it, at the end, it can overwhelm you because you put your blood, you break bones in your fingers and hands, cuts, scrapes, hard hits in the face, knocks, your body hurts, your knees twisted, ankle sore, hamstrings always hurting. Like I got a torn hamstring. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I have a torn hamstring from all my years of playing football. That I have it now. I still have it now. I can feel it. Now I got a moth in here. I can feel it, when I do my little wind sprints outside, or I do I still do my football drills for some reason. I don't know why. I just still, I'm just fucked up. I just miss it. I realize that I'm too old to play that, sport. I'm too old to play football. I'm just too old to compete playing that game. But I like the drills, and I like to lift weights and run a little bit and sprint, do stuff. But Odell Beckham was on the fucking sidelines crying like a baby, like a child. His team lost the game as well, and he was crying like a fucking baby, and I didn't have any respect for that. And my perspective, my thoughts on why he was crying is, and I also believe, I believe in other things as well about Odell Beckham, but the reason why he was crying is because there hasn't been manhood in his life. There hasn't been a strong. Now, I don't know if he has a father in his life. I'm just saying that there isn't a strong father presence in his life of manhood. Okay, I'm starting to heat up. I didn't realize I was getting so animated. That's what I'm saying. I think a lot of these guys, and you see these guys walking around the street, walking around all over the place. You see these guys, and they are very, very emotional all the time. It's on their sleeve. I mean, they ranting and raving like hysterical girls. I must have that door open. I gotta go check see if I have that door open. There's too many two moths in here, and I think like 2 or 3 mosquitoes somewhere around. Anyway, let me go check this door. The door was ajar. And yet, I'm going to have that moth, I see. There isn't a powerful male presence in a lot of these guys' life, in a lot of these men's life, and of course, daughters as well. I just don't like the fact that these guys who are supposed to be so secured men, Odell Beckham Jr. being a football player, the very macho sport. So I played it, and I'm super macho. And not really, I'm not macho. I don't wear macho. I wear manhood, yes. Some people might say that, hey, RPJ is a bit soft. I wouldn't say it to my face. But, well, welcome to the show, Prince 2. Welcome, Zikos. Thanks for stopping by and checking me out. Make sure you guys hit the like, share, subscribe buttons, by the way. 15 of you watching, only 5 likes. Something is terribly wrong. And I gave myself one of those likes, so you guys are doing something terribly wrong. Hit the like button, goddammit, or I'll bait you to hell. I just think there's a lot of not strong men, fathers out there, and I say to those people who don't have strong father figures in their lives, that you see what you are missing in your life. And if you don't, and by the way, you should always take looks at yourself and who you are as a human being along the way. You should always do that anyway. You should know what kind of person you are. And the way to be a better person and the way to have more confidence in yourself and to find who you are is to ask yourself all the questions of the world and be honest, brutally honest with the answers. Like, don't give yourself the benefit of doubt. Like, hey, are you afraid of the dark? Like, no, I'm not afraid of the dark. Be honest about it. Are you afraid of mosquitoes? I'm not afraid of mosquitoes. I'm asking myself the question. I'm not afraid of mosquitoes. I don't like mosquitoes. I don't like flying insects that can bite and sting me in the face. That's it. But I'm being honest. I don't like them. They bother me. I'm not afraid of them. I just don't like them. Do I have fear? I guess I don't have fear for myself. I'm afraid for things in my family. Things hurting my family. Things, could happen to my family, my friends. I don't have fear. Not that that means if you do have fear, it's okay to admit that you have fear. It's at the end of the world. It's not a big deal. Just be open and honest about that, and you get to know yourself. And when knowing yourself, it comes a bit of confidence in yourself. Well, at least that's what happened with me. And I did this as a teenager onward, with goals in mind, little goals in mind, like being a good father, the best father I could be. One of my goals was to join the Army. Another goal was to travel the world. I still have more goals. One of my goals here is to be so good here. And being good here, it doesn't mean viewership to me. I mean, that would be great because then it's substantial. It gives credibility to the things that I've been doing that I think is the right thing to do for my show. I'm going to be doing more news as I started the process the last couple of weeks. Today, I was exhausted because I do have to live a life, and I was doing things, and I'm just exhausted. Black Arch, welcome to the show. Black Arch says RPJ was wrong about the Eagles 3 times this season. Hashtag boycott RPJ NFL's picks. You know why? I look at this anyway. I will get to the Eagles. But anyway, I just think there's a lack of manhood that's going on here, and I say to these boys to men, that if you didn't have a strong father in your life, you should try to be a strong father yourself. You should try to think of all the things that you would want for yourself if you didn't have because your father wasn't there. You should try to be that for your children. That's exactly the mindset that I had at 14, 15 years old, that I'm going to be a way better parent, way better father, than my father was to me, than my parents were to me. And thus, and though I sometimes initially I was tightly wound because I was just so determined that I didn't lighten up. But the more and more you're around your kids, you love your kids, you develop patience around your kids. Not too much patience, but you got to build patience around your children. You got to be patient. You got to be stern. You got to be tough at times. You can't let your kids walk around with broomsticks like 2 years old, 1 year old, swinging them around the head, and around hot pots and pans or computers or whatever, have you, or even around their brothers and sisters. But, you go, hey, I'm going to take the stick out of your hand. You don't know what you're doing. You're a baby. Try to be the fathers that you didn't have in your lives. Try to be the parent that maybe you had, but maybe you can add a twist to it. Not with resentment, because it's out of caring. It's about being better. I say this, so I don't know if Odell Beckham Jr. is a father yet. I don't know if you guys hear me. I got to do a sound test here, but I don't know if he's a father yet. I say that he needs some serious, inward soul searching about what kind of man he is and what kind of father he would want to be, and remember the things that he is lacking in. Now, I also, just between you and I, and there's nothing wrong with this, He might be homosexual. I think that Odell Beckham might be a homosexual. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know why I went to the next level more, but I think that he's homosexual. I do. Now, I'm sure he's not watching this. I'm sure he's not watching this. But if he is, and I'm wrong, I apologize. And by the way, being homosexual is actually a great thing in these times and days. That's what they say. I don't have a problem with people being homosexual. That's not my issue. I'm just saying this is what I think. And there's nothing wrong, especially in today's climate, of being homosexual. So if you're a homosexual, declare your homosexuality. Come on out and say that you're homosexual, and that's fine and dandy, and move on with your life. You'll be happier in your life. I'm talking about Odell Beckham Jr., the football player that was crying yesterday because his emotions got the best of him. Because he got picked up at one point in the game, was frustrated that he wasn't getting 1,000 passes thrown at him, I guess. As a football player or ex-football player myself, I'm competitive. I want the ball thrown at me every play, basically, because every play I believe I'm open. Even if I'm covered, on the rare occasions that I'm covered, so somebody beats me on my move, like I'm gonna take them on a curling route, and they jump the route. Like I always say, I still throw it because I get it. He's gonna jump the route. I'm gonna get my hands out and I'm gonna jump the route as well. So, like I see him breaking on the route, I'm gonna break too. That way, he doesn't have a chance of intercepting the ball. That's what I'm starting off with, folks. Starting off with Odell Beckham and his crybaby antics and carrying on and hitting stuff. And I'm glad that when he hit that kicking gear hit him right in the face and the camera caught him there. He was just acting like a complete asshole, a crybaby jackass. Now, I understand competing. I love competition, especially when, as a football player, as a wide receiver. As a quarterback, I think that I can make every throw. As a wide receiver, if a guy is locking me down, especially when I play corner, and I got this guy locked down, and he beats me, like, oh shit, he beat the hell out of me. And one of the things, I'm 6'3", so I remember one time, the other team had this little short guy, but he was quick as shit and kind of fast. You know the difference? Like he was fast. But, I was just as fast as he was. But he was quick. Like, just like little zippity doodah thing. He was like this little. And I had to cover him because we did a lot of man-to-man that day. And I know it sounds, all these references, if I thought about them, could sound like, homosexual type references. I'm going man-to-man as a wide receiver. No, as a cornerback. But cornerback is nothing you can find gay in cornerback. I'm a cornerback. I think Ezekiel Elliott is more gay than ODB. Well, you know what? I don't know, but he had a great game, Ezekiel Elliott, so he can run his gay ass all day long if he wants. He had a great day yesterday. Very proud of the young man. You got to stay away from those weed shops and hanging around with jackasses. And I didn't realize this was going to be a sporting show. Did you guys notice that Greg Hardy, the ex-Cowboy defensive end, the madman, the guy who beat up a woman, and threw that woman on a bed or a couch full of guns, assault weapons, and she had bruises. She had lots of bruises, and all over the place. Greg Hardy was found guilty in a North Carolina court initially of assault and all that stuff. I'm not sure the exact charges. But then later on, he appealed his case, and he paid her off, and she didn't want to go through the misery of it all, for whatever her reasons were. You would wish more women would go out of their way to, Not in all cases, obviously, but what happened in that case, Greg Hardy is a psychopath. That guy is clearly crazy and on drugs. As today's new thing that I found out not too long ago by turning the TV on was that Greg Hardy was arrested and he had for possession of drugs. I don't know the case all that well. He's in jail as we speak, or as we are speaking. You know, as that time, and that report came on TV a couple of hours ago, he was in jail. So Greg Hardy is a free agent, 37 years old, psychopath, madman. And so am I. I am a psychopath too, I guess. I got to be a psychopath. How could you explain me? Wentz stack. Yeah, Wentz had a great game as well, Black Arch. Geez, you know, I'm trying to give these Eagles, man, some fucking losses here. So, so I'm not trying to be bad against the Eagles. Like I look at the staff. I looked at it. Like I don't see that they good. Well, what do I know? So Fresh Clean says, that's nothing. I know someone who shot arrows in his wife's necks. Now he's a priest. Get the hell out of town. Welcome, Sir Beasley, to the show. Welcome, Beasley. Beasley is a funny dude. We're going to talk sports. I'll drop the link in a minute. Let me finish up my initial thing first, and then I'll drop the link. That's Roast Monty Munchkin. I'll let you know what. I'll let you come on and have your say. Let's give me. I'm gonna finish up this one last thing on Odell Beckham crying on the sideline and acting like a fool and a nutbag, you know, and very emotional. There are so many cases that because I watch a lot of court stuff on the internet. And this goes what I'm saying about these guys and their lack of manhood, and the sensitivities are just overwhelming. I've been watching so many court cases about so many famous crimes of guys who are, you know, of all races. It's not just a black thing, but of all races, because they are, you know, all fatherless, manhoodless men. There are these famous cases, Maxwell Brack, as the guy who killed his girlfriend because, well, the reasons aren't out there, but the reason why he killed his ex-girlfriend, I'm sorry, I said it wrong, he killed his ex-girlfriend is because he couldn't be with her. He wanted her so badly, and he wasn't being with her, that he killed her. Just like the guy, now, 1 second. Just like the guy, William Balfour, who killed Jennifer Hudson's family. You know, Jennifer Hudson's sister and brother and nephew. Just because he couldn't be with Jennifer Hudson's, with the girlfriend, with the sister of Jennifer Hudson. Just because he couldn't be with her, this guy went off and killed another sister and a brother and that sister's kid. Because he's hurt feelings. This is all about hurt feelings, and he went on this crazy killing thing because he got hurt feelings. Like Odell Beckham yesterday got hurt feelings because he wasn't getting the ball thrown at him enough. He wasn't being dynamic. Wasn't killing it all over the place, and yet he started crying like a bitch on the sidelines. Now, if I was the Giant fan, probably I wouldn't be saying all these things about him, but I think I got to be honest about it. Yeah, he was crying because he was acting like a little bitch. He was acting like a spoiled, petulant child, ranting and raving like a lunatic just because his feelings got in the way. His fucking feelings. Always these feelings. You feeling. Everyone's so goddamn feeling, so sensitive. I don't know how people walk around and do life and whatever fucking thing they do. I don't even know. I just don't understand, Mike. I don't understand. All right, folks, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and then I'm going to bring on Sir Beasley real quick. Well, I don't know how quick, but I'm going to bring on Sir Beasley. And if this is Beasley, right? Yeah, he sounds like Beasley, so he said a few things. And I'm starting to sweat up here. I didn't realize I was getting so animated. I'm gonna let the man have his say on the show, but I'm gonna take a quick commercial break, and I'm gonna take some of this clothes off. And in fact, you know what? Yeah, let me take a quick break, folks, because I do have to get undressed a little bit. Be right back. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I had that. Supporting Wild Turkey Bourbon. That's what I support. Wild Turkey Bourbon. Show must go. Show must not know. She must not know. What are you saying? What are you saying, Beasley? Show must go, must not know RPJ. Show, she must. All right, I don't know what you're saying. I have no idea what you're saying. All right, folks. My name is RPJ. This is the RPJ Show Live. I'm exhausted. That's the title I came up with based on how I was feeling. I got a little rhythm in my voice. Goes with the music. The RPJ Show Live. Come on, come on. Make sure you guys press those like, share, subscribe buttons. Tell your friends and your greasy grandma all about RPJ. Only the good things, of course. Alrighty. Okay, folks. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna bring on a special. Well, hopefully he comes on or not. Young man, let's drop the link. Hopefully this sounds. I can hear stuff. I'm gonna be able to hear everything you say. So off goes the fan. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't get too hot in here. It's been a long, exhausting day, folks. For yours truly. And I've got to make sure that I greet all people that come in here, folks. So make sure you guys press the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Also, keep supporting the show. I do appreciate you guys hooking me up, and so we can get more equipment and more things for the show. I'm going in nowhere. I'm in no rush to get to where I need to get to, and I just want to keep doing things the right way.
RPJ.
Welcome to the show, Sir Beasley.
All right.
Welcome.
All right. Throw your pinkies up. Throw your pinkies up.
My pinkies up?
It's a little signal. Look,
what?
Come on, start a little club. What's the big deal?
Little gay club you want to shot? Sorry.
Man, why does sexuality have to come into it, man? All right, put your index finger up. How about your index finger? I would say your middle finger, but that would be inappropriate.
That's okay. I'll wait till you do yours first. When we part this club together.
I'm doing it. Doing it. All right. Wild turkey. Oh, you had a wild turkey hat. You're not really having a drink, are you?
Not tonight. No, man.
I drink wild turkey. I like wild turkey. I like all kinds of bourbon.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, if you're gonna drink, might as well drink some good shit.
Wild Turkey 101. I'm a member of the Kentucky Bourbon Circle, by the way.
Congratulations.
I've met Booker No, who is the grandson of Jim Beam himself. I've actually been down there to Kentucky to taste the small batch bourbons.
Really?
And I'm very familiar with Booker's, Basil Hazen's, Knob Creek, and Baker's. Those are the three main small batch bourbons that were made by the Jim Beam family. Booker's being the most expensive and most strongest. But I'm a connoisseur because I make money.
You know, you can tell Beasley knows his liquor because he's 33 years old and he sounds.
Yeah, right. I'm older than 33.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I bet. So tell me the landscape. I see you making your, when I go around these places, I see that you're making your tour. I see you've been doing a little bit of tours lately. Are you planning on doing your own type stuff, your own type deal eventually?
No.
Absolutely
not. I don't know. No interest. I don't feel like being bothered with the technical shit. You know, being able to talk and operate the mechanics at the same time. Now, I don't have any aspirations of building a platform or a channel. Not at all. But I do enjoy the interactions.
Right. I'm not doing this to be famous. I just feel like if I have a voice, if there's something on my mind, I like to be able to say it and just get it out there. And I do myself. I go around different platforms, and sometimes I act a fool on these different platforms, or because I do for out of fun, or if I really want to say something, wherever the topic is. So I don't know. I didn't know if you really wanted to say something or get out a message or get out your perspective on lots of different topics.
Oh, I don't know. What's on your mind?
Well, I was talking about. I don't really have a show, but I came up with so far the sensitivities of black men because of today's lack of fathers, and not just black men, but just men in broken families all over the place, white, black, Hispanic, whatever the case may be. There are a lot of manhood lessons that are not being passed down. A lot of broken homes. There, of course, the lack of fathers in all races and all creeds.
Well, look at the sad story of this bitch Lamar. That's a sad story. He identifies being an alpha male with someone that can dominate a female.
Yeah. Well,
not with someone that's responsible or that earns or can provide nurturing and and all of the accoutrements that are necessary for life. And here, lo and behold, his father is a career criminal heroin addict. It's documented.
Yeah,
So
I did see a few videos. I think
the Munchkin.
Lamont Lamont Haley put up.
No,
I
no,
think
well, I prefer the term Munchkin.
all right.
He looks like a
And
Munchkin, right?
I mean, the guy looks like he has a few chromosome issues.
Oh, well, we know that, but more like a Munchkin. And it rhymes,
Right?
and it's alliteration with Monty, Eminem, Monty Munchkin. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. There really is a wonderful wizard, if ever a wizard there was. Come on, Tanya
I
Crystal.
understand that he's going to be a police officer.
Do you believe that bullshit? Do you believe that he's even perpetrating a lie like that after people have hunted down his job? That he would actually put that out there? That's all a bunch of bullshit.
No,
They don't hire old folks anyway, man. Come on, they're hiring a fresh guy out
out
of
of the military.
out of the military, man. That's mostly where they're going to get their cops from. Let's
You
be
know,
real.
I didn't think about it like that, but they do take your prior military service as credit towards your job. Like,
Yeah, they fit that in there. I mean, this guy's a counterfeiter, and he has a notorious record on social media.
I mean, the absurdity of it all was, to me, was like, why would you, if it's not true, why would you say that anyway? Knowing that, you might have a background of snitching and talking to the police and talking to the FBI. I mean, if that's your history, why would you even bring that up? Like, I'm going to be a police officer, even if it's a lie.
Right. Yeah, it's just some ploy to get attention.
Well, that's what I ultimately think. Like, I always say, why do people say and do the things they do? And based on the history, and I'm not making fun, but he did say he was in a coma. He did say he was dead.
No, you're right. First he was dead, then he was in a coma.
Right.
And he said, I'm going to explain the thing to everybody. Then he said, fuck you, I'm not explaining shit.
And then, and then before that, he was chasing Sotomayor around, bringing guns on camera because he was, again, one of those sensitive type.
That's before my time, right?
Yeah.
Before my time. Yeah.
So Fresh So Cleans asks, who said Monty snitch? Never heard that. Well, it's coming from a good source.
You don't get off of a counterfeit case. I don't care who you are.
Well, there's two things. But I don't think the audience knows. There are two things. He had this counterfeit situation going on that I don't know how that got squashed, but he probably told, and with the help, like his mother probably, people surrounding him. His mom's a cop, a detective, so they probably got together. Listen, you're embarrassing your mom. Just tell us who gave you this, and we'll, give you a slap in the hand, and you get out of here. That's probably what happened.
Probably what happened.
Exactly.
He told, why do you think he carries guns around and has guns and goes everywhere with guns? Because he's told on them dudes.
And
I mean, he's too quick to tell on people here over this bullshit.
Over this, and this is nothing.
Yeah, be a man and take it like a man.
And also, yeah, that's that healthy fear of that, and he has fear because, again, I mean, no offense to him, but look at him. No offense to him, but look at him. I mean, geez. And also, he did, and I kind of believe the story. It got corroborated a little bit. He told the FBI on Jimmy. I don't know what name he carries now, but this guy Jimmy. Careless, and so he told on him because Jimmy made fun about his kid. Jimmy said some probably some terrible things about his kid. I don't know what he said per se, but he got Lamont Haley, Monty Woodgrain, Monty Mushkin got so upset about that he alerted the FBI, who visited a man and knocked on his door, left a card. They eventually had a conversation with him based on a lie perpetrated by Lamont Haley, Monty Woodgrain, Monty Munchkin.
You know the Munchkin? You know what a Munchkin is?
Who?
Do you know what a Munchkin is?
Munchkin, like from the Wizard of Oz. Munchkins, little
Right,
people.
right. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Well,
There really is a wonderful wizard. If ever was, there was.
now just to finish off the thought here, Lamont Haley, Monty Woodgrain, Monty Munchkin, said that he's going to be a police officer. I don't know why he would say that, even if it's not true. If it is true, which is it can't be true because he's going to be closing in on 40 and he doesn't have any military history to help offset his age. But you're right, he's not going to be in a cop for real. And I found it funny. Someone sent me his little running around workout video. He doesn't even know how to work out. First of all, I mean, he just went to the park and started doing sprints. You know, and didn't stretch. And you gotta teach these guys everything. I mean, you can't teach them basic stuff. Like, listen, you just can't go full blast right away. You might want to stretch a little bit, slight jog, walk it out, long jog, and then sprints towards the end. I mean, I don't know. Beasley. I don't know what's wrong with some of these dudes out here. You have an idea?
Got some real issues, man. Real issues.
I agree. So this all to me ties into because the sensitive man, you know, and no offense, he is very sensitive. I mean, you have to understand, and I'm not here to just throw shade, as they say.
So why do you keep saying no offense? I'm here to offend people.
Well, I'm not really here to offend people. I'm really here just to give my 2 cents of truth. But because we live in a sensitive environment of people, they are so easily bothered and hurt by stuff that them themselves do and say and are perpetrating. I don't get why the sensitivities are here. I mean, shit, this is supposed to be we're supposed to be strong people. All adult men and women are supposed to be strong, you know. There's so many people in the world that probably hate you just based on the way you look, your skin color, your height, your age. They probably just hate you for that alone, or have no respect for you because you're a stupid consumer. There's a whole world out there of people hating. So why would you care if people say, hey, you suck. Hey, you're not funny. Hey, you're an idiot. Hey, I mean, who cares if people say these things? Who gives a shit? Why would you care? Why do people care so much? I'm asking you, Beasley, why do people care so much? Beasley, can you leave? Son of a bitch. Didn't say goodbye. Is he here? Oh, no, I'm going to check. Never can say, he fucking left. Anyway, something must have happened. Or Beasley fell down some stairs, I guess. I don't know. All right, so I don't understand the sensitive manhood of people, and I understand women are allowed to be women to a point. You're not allowed to be a fucking asshole if you're a woman. So although look at America. America is all sissified, pussified, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but it is. It's pussified. Everyone is so sensitive. The whole PC police is out there. You can't tell the truth that this country is being run by big business and politicians who are in the pockets of these big businesses or mouthpieces of these big businesses. You can't say that this country is sold off to people, Israel and Middle East, Japan, China. You can't say the truth. Like, these countries have bought into America so much so that these are the businesses that run America, run the politics of America. Make sure that everyone is a consumer, but don't hurt their feelings, because everyone in their feelings, they can get hurt, they cry, they get sad. I'm gonna drop your docs. I'm gonna get your ex online because my feelings are hurt. Feelings, all these fucking feelings. Jesus fucking Christ. It's RPJ, can you share screen the debate? Actually, I don't know. I gotta find the debate first, and we'll see if I can screen share it. You know what? That's not so bad to be educational. So let's see if I can find the debate. Anyone have a link to a debate online? I wouldn't know. Don't ask me. I don't know how to use. I can barely use the computer. Sometimes the microphone works. Sometimes it doesn't. Nothing wrong with the microphone. Sometimes it just won't work with this camera. All right, let's see if I can find the debate. First, oh, there it is, live on YouTube. All right, so here we go. Watch now. C 3 times. C times 3. Okay, here we go. Presidential debate. All right, now nothing's happening. A lot of pictures. You see some politicians, and I'll screen share this. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble. I got it. I got it now. I'm on NBC News. It's giving me the presidential debate. Oh, they're the ones doing the debate? Because if they're not doing the debate, anyway, all right, I'm just going to go with this one. All right, here we go. Screen sharing the presidential debate. Right now, nothing's happening. So I'll show you nothing's happening. They're just talking pre-debate. Pre-debate talking. Andrea Mitchell is talking about debate. So right now, nothing's happening. And you know what? And I'll stream the debate through here. Why not? I'll give you, the smart people, what you guys want to hear. Right now, nothing's happening. Just a lot of preamble talk about this, that, and the other. Trump, Trump's going to look good. If Trump looks any kind of decent, he's going to be the president of the United States. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know enough. And so, folks, unfortunately, that's going to be the situation here. And blah, blah, blah with that. Okay, I think they're starting to get started now, so I'm going to be quiet here for a moment, and I'll give my 2 cents along the way. Let's put it on.
I want to welcome you to the first
Gray's not loud enough.
debate. The participants tonight are Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, a nonpartisan,
okay, you guys see it? Let me make it bigger.
The commission drafted tonight's format, and the rules have been agreed to.
You guys hear it good enough? Let me know if you guys hear it good enough.
The 90-minute debate is divided into 6 segments, each 15 minutes long. We'll explore 3 topic areas tonight. So
now I got to change the type. I got to change the title now from exhausted to America presidential debate. I guess. I've been changing titles of my shit all the time.
2 minutes to respond.
Oh, RPJ, showing this feed will get your video flag. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get out of that because I don't want my show flag. Yes, it's okay. Yes.
I will invite you to applaud, however, at this
all right, I'm going to show a little bit of feed.
Well,
when I get off of it right now.
Hillary Clinton and Republican nominee for
president. I'm going to get off of it right now. RPJ, edit the filters. What? Edit what filters? How you edit? What are you talking about editing? I don't know what you're talking about. Edit the filters. What's that? Let me see if we take this video down. I believe you. I don't want my video down. I mean, I don't want my video. I don't want anything flag taken down. So we will listen to it. Can we listen to it? All right, let's listen to it instead of playing the video. You can watch me.
Well, I don't expect us to cover all the issues of this campaign tonight, but I remind everyone there are 2 more presidential debates scheduled. We are going to focus on many of the issues that voters tell us are most important, and we're going to press for specifics. I am honored to have this role, but this evening belongs to the candidates, and just as important.
Okay, I'll do about puppet, people. All right?
Candidates, we look forward to hearing you articulate your policies and your positions, as well as your visions.
Presidential debates through puppets.
So, let's begin. We're calling this opening segment Achieving Prosperity, and central to that is jobs. There are 2 economic realities in America today. There's been a record 6 straight years of job growth, and new census numbers show incomes have increased at a record rate after years of stagnation. However, income inequality remains significant, and nearly half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Beginning with you, Secretary Clinton, why are you a better choice than your opponent to create the kinds of jobs that will put more money into the pockets of American workers?
Well, thank you, Lester, and thanks to Hofstra for hosting us. The central question in this election is really what kind of country we want to be and what kind of future we'll build together. Today is my granddaughter's 2nd birthday, so I think about this a lot. First, we have to build an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. That means we need new jobs, good jobs, with rising incomes. I want us to invest in you. I want us to invest in your future. That means jobs in infrastructure, in advanced manufacturing, in innovation and technology, clean renewable energy, and small business, because most of the new jobs will come from small business. We also have to make the economy fairer. That starts with raising the national minimum wage and also guarantee, finally, equal pay for women's work. I also want to see more companies do profit sharing. If you help create the profits, you should be able to share in them, not just the executives at the top. And I want us to do more to support people who are struggling to balance family and work. I've heard from so many of you about the difficult choices you face and the stresses that you're under. So let's have paid family leave, earned sick days. Let's be sure we have affordable childcare and debt-free college. How are we going to do it? We're going to do it by having the wealthy pay their fair share and close the corporate loopholes.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to screen share a little bit.
On the stage together, Donald.
I'll lose the show. I'll lose the show. Okay.
Donald, it's good to be with you. We're going to have a debate where we are talking about the important issues facing our country. You have to judge us. Who can shoulder the immense, awesome responsibilities of the presidency? Who can put into action the plans that will make your life better? I hope that I will be able to earn your vote on November 8th.
Secretary Clinton, thank you. Mr. Trump, the same question to you. It's about putting more money in the pockets of American workers. You have up to 2 minutes.
Thank you, Minister. Our jobs are fleeing the country.
The filters.
They're going to Mexico. They're going to many other countries. You look at what China is doing to our country in terms of making our product. They're devaluing their currency, and there's nobody in our government to fight them. And we have a very good fight, and we have a winning fight, because they're using our country as a piggy bank to rebuild China, and many other countries are doing the same thing. So we're losing our good jobs, so many of them. When you look at what's happening in Mexico, a friend of mine who
I don't know what you mean, but edit the filters.
Wonder of the world. They're building some of the biggest plants anywhere in the world, some of the most sophisticated, some of the best plants. With the United States, as you said, not so much. So Ford is leaving. You see that, their small car division leaving. Thousands of jobs, leaving Michigan, leaving Ohio.
I'm with you, Mrs. Blackthorn Romeo. I'm not voting for these clowns. I don't know who to vote for, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
We probably disagree a little bit as to numbers and amounts and what we're going to do, but perhaps we'll be talking about that later. But we have to stop our jobs from being stolen from us. We have to stop our companies from leaving the United States, and with it, firing all of their people. All you have to do is take a look at Carrier Air Conditioning in Indianapolis. They left fired 1,400 people. They're going to Mexico. So many, hundreds and hundreds of companies.
I don't know how to edit. I'm probably just going to lose it.
Under my plan, I'll be reducing taxes tremendously, from 35% to 15% for companies, small and big businesses. That's going to be a job creator like we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. Companies will come, they will build, they will expand, new companies will start, and I look very, very much forward to doing it. We have to renegotiate our trade deals, and we have to stop these countries from stealing our companies and our jobs.
Secretary Clinton, would you like to respond?
Well, I think that trade is an important issue. Of course, we are 5% of the world's population. We have to trade with the other 95%. And we need to have smart, fair trade deals. We also
I don't know what you're talking
have
about.
A tax system that rewards work and not just financial transactions. And the kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. In fact, it would be the most extreme version, the biggest tax cuts for the top percents of the people in this country that we've ever had. I call it trumped up trickle-down, because that's exactly what it would be. That is not how we grow the economy. We just have a different view about what's best for growing the economy, how we make investments that will actually produce jobs and rising incomes. I think we come at it from somewhat different perspectives. I understand that. You know, Donald was very fortunate in his life, and that's all to his benefit. He started his business with $14 million borrowed from his father, and he really believes that the more you help wealthy people, the better off we'll be, and that everything will work out from there. I don't buy that. I have a different experience. My father was a small businessman. He worked really hard. He printed drapery fabrics on long tables where he pulled out those fabrics and he went down with a silk screen and dumped the paint in and took the squeegee and kept going. And so what I believe is the more we can do for the middle class, the more we can invest
I'm with you, Black
in
Arch.
you, your education,
They're both
your
lying.
skills, your future.
They both are killing
the better
America
we will
and the
be off,
people
and the better
before
we'll
that.
grow. That's the kind of economy I want us to see again.
Let me follow up with Mr. Trump if I can. You've talked about creating 25 million jobs, and you promised to bring back millions of jobs for Americans. How are we going to bring back the industries that have left this country for cheaper labor overseas? How specifically are you going to tell American manufacturers that you have to come back?
Well, for one thing, and before we start on that, my father gave me a very small loan in 1975, and I built it into a company that's worth many, many billions of dollars with some of the greatest assets in the world. And I say that only because that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. Our country's in deep trouble. We don't know what we're doing when it comes to devaluations, and all of these countries all over the world, especially China, they're the best ever at it. What they're doing to us is a very, very sad thing. So we have to do that. We have to renegotiate our trade deals. And they're taking our jobs, they're giving incentives, they're doing things that frankly we don't do. Let me give you the example of Mexico. They have a VAT tax. We're in a different system. When we sell into Mexico, there's a tax. When they sell in automatic, 16% approximately. When they sell into us, there's no tax. It's a defective agreement. It's been defective for a long time, many years, but the politicians haven't done anything about it. Now, in all fairness to Secretary
They both
Clinton,
plan on fucking the country up
Yes.
worse.
Is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. It's very important to me. But in all fairness to Secretary Clinton, when she started talking about this, it was really very recently. She's been doing this for 30 years. And why hasn't she made the agreements better? The NAFTA agreement is defective
Exactly.
just because of the tax
China,
and many other reasons, but just
Israel,
because of the
Let me interrupt you, Tamara.
Jews.
Secretary Clinton,
They run the
and
country. They
others,
own this
politicians,
country.
should have been doing this for years.
Jews, Middle
Not
East,
right now,
Japan,
because of the
China,
fact that we've created a movement. They should
Israel.
have been
Again,
doing this
they,
for years.
these are the
What's happening
these are the people who
to
run
jobs
America.
in our country
These are the
and
businesses that run
economy
America,
generally is, look,
and the
we
policies
have
that shape it.
$20 trillion. We cannot do it any longer, Lester.
Back to the question, though, how do you specifically bring back jobs? American manufacturers, how do you make them bring the jobs back?
Well, the first thing you do is don't let the jobs leave. The companies are leaving. I could name, there are thousands of them. They're leaving, and they're leaving in bigger numbers than ever. And what you do is you say, fine, you want to go to Mexico or some other country, good luck. We wish you a lot of luck. But if you think you're going to make your air conditioners or your cars or your cookies or whatever you make and bring them into our country without a tax, you're wrong. And once you say you're going to have
And these people got so much makeup on. These guys look terrible.
Because they
got so much makeup on.
And the special interests want those companies to leave because in many cases they own the companies. So what I'm saying is we can stop them from leaving. We have to stop them from leaving. And that's a big, big factor.
Let me let Secretary Clinton.
Well, let's stop for a second and remember where we were 8 years ago. We had the worst financial crisis, the Great Recession, the worst since the 1930s, in large part because of tax policies that slashed taxes on the wealthy, failed to invest in the middle class, took their eyes off of Wall Street, and created a perfect storm. In fact, Donald was one of the people who rooted for the housing crisis. He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way.
9 million people lost their jobs. 5 million people lost their homes, and $13 trillion in family wealth was wiped out. Now, we have come back from that abyss, and it has not been easy. So we're now on the precipice of having a potentially much better economy. But the last thing we need to do is to go back to the policies that failed us in the first place. Independent experts have looked at what I proposed.
This is all it is.
looked at what
You're right.
Donald
A pissing
proposed,
contest back and
and
forth.
basically they
What's up,
said
red
this,
face?
that if his tax plan, which would blow up the debt by over $5 trillion and would in some instances disadvantaged middle-class families compared to the wealthy were to go into effect, we would lose 3.5 million jobs and maybe have another recession. They've looked at my plans and they've said, okay, if we can do this, and I intend to get it done, we will have 10 million more new jobs.
Black on Romeo, I do not know what the hell's going on. I don't know who to vote for. I can't vote for either one. I don't know what I'm going to do.
The 21st century. Donald thinks that climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. I think it's real.
I did not.
Science is
I do not say that.
And I think it's important that we grip this and deal with it, both at home and abroad. And here's what we can do. We can deploy 500 million more solar panels. We can have enough clean energy to power every home. We can build a new modern electric grid. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of new economic activity. So I've tried to be very specific about what we can and should do, and I am determined that we're going to get the economy really moving again, building on the progress we've made over the last 8 years, but never going back to what got us in trouble in the first place.
This is right. She talks about solar panels. We invested in the solar company, our country. That was a disaster. They lost plenty of money on that one. Now, look, I'm a great believer in all forms of energy, but we're putting a lot of people out of work. Our energy policies are a disaster. Our country is losing so much in terms of energy, in terms of paying off our debt. You can't do what you're looking to do with 20 trillion in debt. The Obama administration, from the time they've come in, is over 230 years worth of debt, and he's topped it. He's doubled it in the course of almost 8 years, 7.5 years to be semi-exact. So I will tell you this, we have to do a much better job at keeping our jobs, and we have to do a much better job at giving companies incentive to build new companies or to expand, because they're not doing it. And all you have to do is look at Michigan and look at Ohio and look at all of these places where so many of their jobs and their companies are just leaving, they're gone. And Hillary, I just ask you this, you've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions. Well, I will bring back jobs. You can't bring back jobs.
Well, actually, I have thought about this quite a bit.
Yeah, for 30 years.
I have, well, not quite that long. I think my husband did a pretty good job in the 1990s. I think a lot about what worked and how we can make it work again.
Well, he approved NAFTA.
New jobs, a balanced budget.
Which is the single worst trade deal ever approved in this country.
Incomes went up for everybody. Manufacturing jobs went up also in the 1990s, if we're actually going to look at the facts. When I was in the Senate, I had a number of trade deals that came before me, and I held them all to the same test. Will they create jobs in America? Will they raise incomes in America? And are they good for our national security? Some of them I voted for. The biggest one, a multinational one known as CAFTA, I voted against. And because I hold the same standards as I look at all of these trade deals. But let's not assume that trade is the only challenge we have in the economy. I think it is a part of it, and I've said what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a special prosecutor. We're going to enforce the trade deals we have, and we're going to hold people accountable. When I was Secretary of State, we actually increased American exports globally. We increased.
I don't believe this is a spiritual war.
50%. So I know how to.
I don't think it really matters who becomes president. It didn't matter.
Create more.
Is that my phone?
Well, you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well, I've been a senator.
You haven't done it.
And I have been a Secretary of State, and I have
Your husband signed NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened to the manufacturing industry. You go to New England, you go to Ohio, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere you want, Secretary Clinton, and you will see devastation where manufacturing is down 30, 40, sometimes 50%. NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country. And now you want to approve Trans-Pacific Partnership. You were totally in favor of it. Then you heard what I was saying, how bad it is, and you said, I can't win that debate. But you know that if you did win, you would approve that, and that will be almost as bad as NAFTA. Nothing will ever top NAFTA.
That is just not accurate. was against it once it was finally negotiated and the terms were laid out. I wrote about that in.
You called it the gold standard.
Well, I hope
You called it the gold standard of trade
And
deals.
you
You
know
said it's
what?
the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Well, Donald, I know you live in your own reality, but
Oh, yeah.
that is not the facts. The facts are, I did say I hoped it would be a good deal, but when it was negotiated,
Not.
which I was not responsible for, I concluded it wasn't. I wrote about that.
So is it
in
President
my
Obama's
book
fault? Is it
before
President Obama's
you
fault?
even announced. Look, there
Secretary,
are
is it President Obama's fault?
there are
Because
What the hell,
pushing it.
man?
There are
Come on, let her
different
talk,
views
jackass.
about what's
This guy's a
best for
clown.
our country, our economy, and our leadership in the
What's
world.
up, Scott?
And I think it's important to look at what we need to do to get the economy going again. That's why I said new jobs with rising incomes, investments, not in more tax cuts that would add $5 trillion to the debt.
But you have no
in
plan.
Educate. Oh, I do.
Secretary,
In fact,
you
I've
have no
written
plan.
a book about it. It's called Stronger Together. You can pick it up
That's
tomorrow
about all you
Folks,
at
we're
the
gonna
bookstore or at an airport near you.
we're gonna move to
But it's because I see this. We need to have strong growth, fair growth, sustained growth. We also have to look at how we help families balance the responsibilities at home and the responsibilities at business. So we have a very robust set of plans, and people who have looked at both of our plans have concluded that mine would create 10 million jobs and yours would lose us 3.5 million jobs and explode.
You are
the
going
debt.
to approve one of the
Which would
biggest tax
have
cuts
a
in
recession.
history. You are going to approve one of the biggest tax increases in history. You are going to drive business out. Your regulations are a disaster, and you're going to increase regulations.
Oh, I don't know
all over the place.
if you-
And by the way,
This is
my
a different
tax
channel,
cut is the biggest
Scott.
since Ronald Reagan. I'm very proud of it.
Who's messaging me?
It will create tremendous numbers of new jobs. But
Someone's
regulations,
messaging me
we are
now?
going to regulate these businesses out of existence.
What am I doing?
When I go
Oh, giving you a
around, Lester,
wrench.
I tell you this, I've been all over.
That's a different
Now,
show.
when I go
Yeah, that's the
around,
Jonathan Still show.
Despite the tax cut, the things that businesses and people like the most is the fact that I'm cutting
Okay,
regulation.
back
You
to
have regulations
reality.
on top of regulations, and new
oops. Damn it.
companies cannot form, and old companies are going out of business, and you want to increase the regulations and make them even worse. I'm going to cut regulations, but I'm going to cut taxes bigly, and you're going to raise taxes bigly. End of story.
Let me get you to pause right there because we're going to
Yes,
move into we're going to move into the
That-
next segment. We're going to talk
that
taxes.
can't be left to
Please just
stand.
take
You know,
30 seconds.
I
and then we can go
kind
on.
of assumed that there would be a lot of these charges and claims. And so
Facts.
we have taken the homepage of my website, HillaryClinton.com, and we turned it into a fact checker. So if you want to see in real time what the facts are, please go and take a look. Because
And take a look at mine also. You'll
not
see.
add a penny to the debt, and your plans would add $5 trillion to the debt. What I have proposed would cut regulations and streamline them for small businesses. What I have proposed would be paid for by raising taxes on the wealthy because they have made all the gains in the economy. And I think it's time that the wealthy and corporations pay their fair share to support this
Well,
country.
you just opened the next segment.
Well, look, can I just finish? I think I should. You go to her website.
Come on.
You take a look at her website. She's going to raise taxes $1.3 trillion.
Mr. Trump,
And look at her website. You know what? It's no different than this. She's telling us how to fight ISIS. Just go to her website. She tells you how to fight ISIS on her website. I don't think General Douglas MacArthur would like that too much.
The next segment will continue
Well,
with the
at
subject
least
of
I have a plan to fight
achieving
ISIS.
prosperity.
No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life. Well,
That's go to the please, the fact checkers. Get to
Okay,
work.
you are unpacking a lot here, and we're still in the issue of achieving prosperity. And I want to talk about taxes. The fundamental difference between the two of you concerns the wealthy. Secretary Clinton, you're calling for a tax increase in the wealthiest Americans. I'd like you to further defend that. And Mr. Trump, you're calling for tax cuts for the wealthy. I'd like you to defend that. And this next 2-minute answer goes to you, Mr. Trump.
Well, I'm really calling for major jobs because the wealthy are going to create tremendous jobs. They're going to expand their companies. They're going to do a tremendous job. I'm getting rid of the carried interest provision. And if you really look, it's not a tax. It's really not a great thing for the wealthy. It's a great thing for the middle class. It's a great thing for companies to expand. And when these people are going to put billions and billions of dollars into companies, and when they're going to bring $2.5 trillion back from overseas, where they can't bring the money back because politicians like Secretary Clinton won't allow them to bring the money back because the taxes are so onerous and the bureaucratic red tape. So what is so bad? So what they're doing is they're leaving our country.
I believe that.
Believe it or not, leaving because
I believe Hillary
taxes are too
Clinton is
high,
going to
and
win
because some of them
the
have
presidential
lots of money outside of our country, and
candidacy.
instead of bringing it
She's
back
going to
and
be
putting the money
president.
to work
I
because
believe
they can't
Hillary
work out a
Clinton.
deal to-
I say,
and everybody
if Donald
agrees it
Trump
should be
doesn't
brought back.
embarrass
Instead of
himself
that,
in his
they're
debates,
leaving our country
he's got a shot.
to get their money because they can't bring their money back
So,
into our country because of bureaucratic red tape, because they can't get together. Because we have a president that can't sit them around the table and get them to approve something. And here's the thing: Republicans and Democrats agree that this should be done. $2.5 trillion. I happen to think it's double that. It's probably $5 trillion that we can't bring into our country, Lester. And with a little leadership, you'd get it in here very quickly, and it could be put to use on the inner cities and lots of other things, and it would be beautiful. But we have no leadership. And honestly, that starts with Secretary Clinton.
You have 2 minutes on the same question to defend.
Okay, I'm going to take a chance here, Afro Latino. I don't know you that well. I don't know. That's the first of the name.
Everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why
Ah.
not? Yeah, why not? You know, just join the debate by saying more crazy things. Now, let me say,
There's nothing crazy
is
about not
absolutely
letting our companies bring their money back into their country.
This is Secretary Clinton's 2 minutes, please.
yeah. Well, let's start the clock again, Lester. We've looked at your tax proposals. I don't see changes in the corporate tax rates or the kinds of proposals you're referring to that would cause the repatriation, bringing back of money that's stranded overseas. I happen to
Then you didn't
support
read
that. I happen to support that in a way that will actually work to our benefit. But when I look at what you have proposed, you have what is called now the Trump loophole, because it would so advantage you and the business you do. You've proposed an approach that has a $4 billion tax benefit for your family. And when you look at what you are proposing, it is, as I said, trumped up trickle down. Trickle down did not work. It got us into the mess we were in 2008 and 9. Slashing taxes on the wealthy hasn't worked. And a lot of really smart, wealthy people know that. And they are saying, hey, we need to do more to make the contributions we should be making to rebuild the middle class. I don't think top down works in America. I think building the middle class, investing in the middle class, making college debt free so more young people can get their education, helping people refinance their debt from college at a lower rate. Those are the kinds of things that will really boost the economy. Broad-based, inclusive growth is what we need in America, not more advantages for people at the very top.
Mr. Trump,
Typical politician. All talk, no action. Sounds good, doesn't work, never going to happen. Our country is suffering because people like Secretary Clinton have made such bad decisions in terms of our jobs and in terms of what's going on. Now, look, we have the worst revival of an economy since the Great Depression. And believe me, we're in a bubble right now. And the only thing that looks good is the stock market. But if you raise interest rates even a little bit, that's going to come crashing down.
She's definitely more polished, more prepared.
Bubble. And we better be awfully careful. And we have a Fed that's doing political things. This Janet Yellen of the Fed. The Fed is doing political by keeping the interest rates at this level. And believe me, the day Obama goes off and he leaves and he goes out to the golf course for the rest of his life to play golf, when they raise interest rates, you're going to see some very bad things happen because the Fed is not doing their job. The Fed is being more political than Secretary Clinton.
Mr. Trump, we're talking about the burden that Americans have to pay, yet you have not released your tax returns. And the reason nominees have released their returns for decades is that voters will know if their potential president owes money to, who he owes it to, and any business conflicts. Don't Americans have a right to know if there are any conflicts of interest?
I don't mind releasing. I'm under a routine audit, and it'll be released. And as soon as the audit's finished, it'll be released. But you will learn more about Donald Trump by going down to the federal elections, where I filed a 104-page, essentially financial statement of sorts, the forms that they have. It shows income. In fact, the income, I just looked today, the income is filed at $694 million for this past year. $694 million. You would have told me I was going to make that 15 or 20 years ago. I would have been very surprised. But that's the kind of thinking that our country needs. When we have a country that's doing so badly, that's being ripped off by every single country in the world, it's the kind of thinking that our country needs, because everybody, Lester, we have a trade deficit with all of the countries that we do business with of almost $800 billion a year. You know what that is? That means
the votes count, and I tell people.
We have people that are political hacks negotiating on trade deals.
The IRS has an audit of your taxes. You're perfectly free to release your taxes during an audit. So the question, does the public's right to know outweigh your personal?
Well, I told you, I will release them as soon as the audit. Look, I've been under audit almost for 15 years. I know a lot of wealthy people that have never been audited. I said, you get audited? I get audited almost every year. And in a way, I should be complaining. I'm not even complaining. I don't mind it. It's almost
you should see the makeup on these people. I'm looking at it up close. It's disgusting. They are so pasty made up.
In this country,
like dead. They look like dead people.
I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes. When she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted, as soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns, and that's against my lawyers. They say don't do it. I will tell you this. No,
he's a liar. This guy's liars.
They're reading the papers. Almost every lawyer says you don't release your returns until the audit's complete. When the audit's complete, I'll do it. But I would go against them if she releases her.
So it's negotiable?
It's not negotiable. No, let her release the email. Why did she delete 33,000?
Well, I'll let her ask that, but let me just admonish the audience one more time. There was an agreement. We did ask you to be silent, so it would be helpful for us. Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think you've just seen another example of bait and switch here. For 40 years, everyone running for president has released their tax returns. You can go and see nearly, I think, 39, 40 years of our tax returns, but everyone has done it. We know the IRS has made clear there is no prohibition on releasing it when you're under audit. So you've got to ask yourself, why won't he release his tax returns? And I think there may be a couple of reasons. First, maybe he's not as rich as he says he is. Second, maybe he's not as charitable as he claims to be. Third, we don't know all of his business dealings, but we have been told through investigative reporting that he owes about $650 million to Wall Street and foreign banks.
They hit him. That's about true.
The American people,
that's
all
about
of you
true.
Watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools or health. And I think probably he's not all that enthusiastic about having the rest of our country see what the real reasons are.
Patricia,
because
welcome.
It must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide. And the financial disclosure statement, they don't give you the tax rate. They don't give you all the details that tax returns would. And it just seems to me that this is something that the American people deserve to see. And I have no reason to believe that he's ever going to release his tax returns, because there's something he's hiding. And we'll keep guessing at what it might be that he's hiding. But I think the question is, were he ever to get near the White House, what would be those conflicts? Who does he owe money to? Well, he owes you the answers to that, and he should provide them.
He also raised the issue of your emails. Do you want to respond to that?
I do. You know, I made a mistake using a private email.
That's for sure.
And if I had to do it over again, I would obviously do it differently. But I'm not going to make any excuses. It was a mistake, and I take responsibility for that.
Mr. Trump?
That was more than a mistake. That was done purposely. Okay, that was not a mistake. That was done purposely. When you have your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the Fifth, so they're not prosecuted. When you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the Fifth, I think it's disgraceful. And believe me, this country thinks it's disgraceful. It really thinks it's disgraceful also. As far as my
he's
tax
starting to
returns,
embarrass himself
you
now.
don't learn that much from tax returns, that I can tell you. You learn a lot from financial disclosure. And you should go down and take a look at that. The other thing, I'm extremely underleveraged. The report that said 650, which, by the way, a lot of friends of mine that know my business said, boy, that's really not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money relative to what I had. The buildings that were in question, they said in the same report, which was, so it wasn't even a bad story, to be honest with you, but the buildings are worth.
Yeah, Trump is falling apart a little bit.
And the 650
It doesn't sound so believable.
But it's not 650, it's much less than that. But I could give you a list of banks. I would, if that would help you, I would give you a list of banks. These are very fine institutions, very fine banks.
These guys look terrible. He looks terrible. I don't know what. Who can fuck this guy? Who's fucking Trump?
And the reason I
looks
say
terrible.
that is not in a braggadocious way. It's because it's about time that
We are in
this
trouble,
country
Patricia.
had somebody running it that has an idea about money. When we have $20 trillion in debt and our country's a mess, you know, it's one thing to have $20 trillion in debt and our roads are good and our bridges are good and everything's in great shape. Our airports are like from a third world country. You land at LaGuardia, you land at Kennedy, you land at LAX, you land at Newark, and you come in from Dubai and Qatar, and you see these incredible, you come in from China, you see these incredible airports, and you land, we've become a third world country. So, the worst of all things has happened. We owe $20 trillion, and we're a mess. We haven't even started. And we've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East, according to a report that I just saw.
Oh, boy.
6 or 5, but it looks like it's 6. $6 trillion in the Middle East. We could have rebuilt our country twice. And it's really a shame. And it's politicians like Secretary Clinton that have caused this problem. Our country has tremendous problems. We're a debtor nation. We're a serious debtor nation. And we have a country that needs
there you go, Black Lodges. Exactly. Dubai.
Ports, new schools, new hospitals. And we don't have the money because it's been squandered on so many of your ideas.
But you
And
responded
maybe
a little
because
bit.
you haven't paid any federal income tax for a lot of years. And the other thing I think is important.
It would
to
be
point out
squandered too,
is
believe me.
If your main claim to be president of the United States is your business, then I think we should talk about that. You know, your campaign manager said that you built a lot of businesses on the backs of little guys. And indeed, I have met a lot of the people who were stiffed by you and your businesses, Donald. I've met dishwashers, painters, architects, glass installers, marble installers, drapery installers, like my dad was, who you refuse to pay when they finish the work that you asked them to do. We have an architect in the audience who designed one of your clubhouses at one of your golf courses. It's a beautiful
Thank you,
facility.
Zigos. I was listening to this. This is
Immediately was
good.
put to use, and you wouldn't pay what the man needed to be paid, what he was charging.
Maybe he didn't do a good job, and I was unsatisfied with his work, which our country should do
the
too.
thousands of people that you have stiffed over the course of your business not deserve some kind of apology from someone who has taken their labor, taken the goods that they produce, and then refused to pay them. I can only say that I'm certainly relieved that my late father never did business with you. He provided a good middle-class life for us, but the people he worked for, he expected the bargain to be kept
Trump
on
is
both
hurt.
sides.
He's getting hurt.
When we
Trump
talk
is hurt.
about your business,
I can see it in his
taken
face.
business bankruptcy 6 times. There are a lot of great business people that have never taken bankruptcy.
Dubai is made on the
twice.
backs
You call
of
yourself
the
king of debt.
common little
Talk
man.
about
These
leverage.
guys don't
You
do a
even
good
at
job
one
off
time
of their heads.
suggested that You would try to negotiate.
It looks good.
Down
Dubai is a terrible place to live.
The United States.
For them,
Sometimes
for the people of Dubai.
Not a direct transfer of skills
ain't no union
from
there.
business to government. But sometimes what happened in business would be really bad for government.
Like
and we need to be very clear about that.
Look, it's all words, it's all sound bites. I built an unbelievable company. Some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world, real estate assets anywhere in the world, beyond the United States, in Europe, lots of different places. It's an unbelievable company. But on occasion, 4 times, we used certain laws that are there. And when Secretary Clinton talks about people that didn't get paid, first of all, they did get paid a lot, but taking advantage of the laws of the nation. Now, if you want to change the laws, you've been there a long time, change the laws. But I take advantage of the laws of the nation because I'm running a company. My obligation right now is to do well for myself, my family, my employees, for my companies. And that's what I do. But what she doesn't say is the tens of thousands of people that are unbelievably happy and that love me. I'll give you an example.
He sounds like a racist when he said, he sounds so bad. He doesn't sound believable at all.
So if I don't get there one way, I'm going to get to Pennsylvania Avenue enough. But we're opening the old post office. Under budget, ahead of schedule, saved tremendous money. I'm a year ahead of schedule. And that's what this country should be doing. We build roads and they cost 2 and 3 and 4 times what they're supposed to cost. We buy products for our military and they come at costs that are so far above what they were supposed to be because we don't have people that know what they're doing. When we look at the budget is bad to a large extent because we have people that have no idea as to what to do and how to buy. The Trump International is way under budget and way ahead of schedule, and we should be able to do that for our
Well,
country.
we're well behind schedule, so I want to move to our next segment. We move into our next segment talking about America's direction, and let's start by talking about race. The share of Americans who say
this should be
race
good,
relations
folks.
are bad in this country is the highest.
This is all bullshit on both sides.
Much of it amplified by shootings of African Americans by police, as we've seen recently in Charlotte and Tulsa. Race has been a big issue in this campaign, and one of you is going to have to bridge a very wide and bitter gap. So how do you heal the divide? Senator Clinton, you get 2 minutes on this.
This is bullshit.
Well, right.
This is a waste. This is just a waste of words. Wait, both of them. It doesn't matter.
A significant
But we know what the Clinton administration has done to blacks and this country. So this is bullshit.
What kind of education in their
The
public
racist
schools they can
Trump,
get,
and I think they both,
determines how they're treated
have
in the
racial
criminal
overtones.
justice
Trump
system.
doesn't like
We've
blacks
seen
or
those two
Hispanics
tragic examples
or
in
anybody
Tulsa
else other than
and
him
Charlotte.
and his white boy
And
clubs,
we've got to do
country
several
clubs.
things at the same time. We have to restore trust between communities and the police. We have to work to make sure that our police are using the best training, the best techniques, that they're well prepared to use force only when necessary. Everyone should be respected by the law, and everyone should respect the law. Right now, that's not the case in a lot of our neighborhoods. So I have, ever since the first day of my campaign, called for criminal justice reform. I've laid out a platform that I think would begin to remedy some of the problems we have in the criminal justice system. But we also have to recognize, in addition to the challenges that we face with policing, there are so many good, brave police officers who equally want reform. So we have to bring communities together in order to begin working on that as a mutual goal. And we've got to get guns out of the hands of people who should not have them. The gun epidemic is the leading cause of death.
No, it's not.
American men, more than the next 9 causes.
Well, that
put
too.
together.
Well, that
So we have
too.
to do 2 things, as I said. We have to restore trust. We have to work with the police. We have to make sure they respect the communities and the communities respect them. And we have to tackle the plague of gun violence, which is a big contributor to a lot of the problems that we're seeing today.
All right, Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes. How do you heal the divide?
Well, first of all, Secretary Clinton doesn't want to use a couple of words, and that's law and order. We need law and order. If we don't have it, we're not going to have a country. And when I look at what's going on in Charlotte, the city I love, the city where I have investments, when I look at what's going on throughout various parts of our country, whether it's, I mean, I can just keep naming them all day long. We need law and order in our country. And I just got today, as you know, the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police, who just came in. We have endorsements from, I think, almost every police group, a large percentage of them in the United States. We have a situation where we have our inner cities, African Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell because it's so dangerous. You walk down the street, you get shot. In Chicago, they've had thousands of shootings, thousands, since January 1st. Thousands of shootings. And I'm saying, where is this? Is this a war-torn country? What are we doing? And we have to stop the violence. We have to bring back law and order in a place like Chicago, where thousands of people have been killed, thousands over the last number of years. In fact, almost 4,000 have been killed since Barack Obama became president. Almost 4,000 people in Chicago have been killed. We have to bring back law and order. Now, whether or not in a place like Chicago you do stop and frisk, which worked very well, Mayor Giuliani is here, worked very well in New York. They brought the crime rate way down. But you take the gun away from criminals that shouldn't be having it. We have gangs roaming the street, and in many cases, they're illegally here, illegal immigrants, and they have guns, and they shoot people. And we have to be very strong, and we have to be very vigilant. We have to know what we're doing. Right now, our police, in many cases, are afraid to do anything. We have to protect our inner cities because African American communities are being decimated by crime.
Your 2 minutes expired, but I do want to follow up. Stop and frisk was ruled unconstitutional in New York because it largely singled out Black and Hispanic young men.
No, you're wrong. It went before a judge who was a very against police judge. It was taken away from her, and our new mayor, refused to go forward with the case. They would have won her appeal. If you look at it throughout the country, there are many places.
Trump's an idiot.
It's a form of racial profiling.
No, the argument is that we have to take the guns away from these people that have them and that are bad people that shouldn't have them. These are felons. These are people that are bad people that shouldn't be. When you have 3,000 shootings in Chicago on January 1st, when you have 4,000 people killed in Chicago by guns from the beginning of the presidency of Barack Obama, his hometown, you have to have stop and frisk. You need more police. You need a better community.
I say, yeah.
You don't have good community relations.
I say we should have more mental screenings for everyone.
Property there. It's terrible what's going on in Chicago.
Every human, for every American.
Chicago's not the only. You go to Ferguson, you go to so many different places. You need better relationships. I agree with Secretary Clinton on this. You need better relationships between the communities and the police because in some cases it's not good. But you look at Dallas where the relationships were really studied. The relationships were really a beautiful thing. And then 5 police officers were killed one night very violently. So there's some bad things going on, some really bad things. But we need law and order. And we need law and order in the inner cities because the people that are most affected by what's happening are African American and Hispanic people. And it's very unfair to them what our politicians are allowing to happen.
Well, I've heard Donald say this at his rallies, and it's really unfortunate that he paints such a dire, negative picture of Black communities in our country. You know, the vibrancy of the Black church,
Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
So
Vibrancy of the Black church. She's an asshole there.
So many families are working.
The Black church is really helping out these Black communities. Fuck off.
There's a lot that we should be proud of and we should be supporting and lifting up.
All churches are fucking bullshit. TD Jakes and fucking Joel Osteen, they can go fuck off the hell. They ain't doing shit for no fucking community.
That are ineffective.
Don't tell me that bullshit about churches.
Was found to be unconstitutional. and in part because it was ineffective. It did not do what it needed to do. Now, I believe in community policing.
I agree.
And in fact, violent crime is 1/2 of what it was in 1991. Property crime is down 40%. We just don't want to see it creep back up. We've had 25 years of very good cooperation, but there were some problems, some unintended consequences. Too many young African American and Latino men ended up in jail for nonviolent offenses. And it's just a fact that if you're a young African American man and you do the same thing as a young white man, you are more likely to be arrested, charged, convicted, and incarcerated. So we've got to address the systemic racism in our criminal justice system. We cannot just say law and order.
They always say that bullshit.
We have
Black
to say,
church.
It's
a bunch of bullshit.
With a plan.
Right, so fresh with me. They always say the same bullshit over and over. They teach you bullshit. That's why they can't fucking take it easy,
with mandatory minimum sentences,
so
which have put too many people away for too long for doing too little. We need to have more second chance programs. I'm glad that we're ending private prisons in the federal system. I want to see them ended in the state system. You shouldn't have a profit motivation to fill prison cells with young Americans.
It was your administration, your husband's administration that was that.
And I
right, are the biggest people, are the biggest reasons why blacks.
Gun
but I don't obviously can't blame the president, but
right
his
now,
orders to
and this is something Donald has supported.
Privatizing prisons. Right
now,
that was on his
too many
watch.
Military-style weapons on the streets. In a lot of places, our police are outgunned. We need comprehensive background checks, and we need to keep guns out of the hands of those who will do harm. And we finally need to pass a prohibition on anyone who's on the terrorist watch list from being able to buy a gun in our country. If you're too dangerous to fly, you are too dangerous to buy a gun. So there are things we can do, and we ought to do it in a bipartisan way.
Secretary Dunn, last week you said we've got to do everything possible to improve policing, to go right at implicit bias. Do you believe that police are implicitly biased against black people?
Absolutely.
I think implicit bias is a problem for everyone, not just police. I think, unfortunately, too many of us in our great country jump to conclusions about each other. And therefore, I think we need all of us to be asking hard questions about, why am I feeling this way? But when it comes to policing, since it can have literally fatal consequences, I have said in my first budget, we would put money into that budget to help us deal with implicit bias by retraining a lot of our police officers. I met with a group of very distinguished, experienced police chiefs a few weeks ago. They admit it's an issue. They've got a lot of concerns. Mental health is one of the biggest concerns because now police are having to handle a lot of really difficult mental health problems on the street. They want support. They want more training. They want more assistance. And I think the federal government could be in a position where we would offer and provide that.
Listen, I'd like to respond. Please. First of all, I agree, and a lot of people, even within my own party, want to give certain rights to people on watch lists and no-fly lists. I agree with you. When a person is on a watch list or a no-fly list, and I have the endorsement of the NRA, which I'm very proud of, these are very, very good people, and they're protecting the Second Amendment. But I think we have to look very strongly at no-fly lists and watch lists, and when people are on there, even if they shouldn't be on there, we'll help them legally, we'll help them get off. But I tend to agree with that quite strongly. I do want to bring up the fact that you were the one that brought up the word super predator about young black youth. And that's a term that I think was it's been horribly met, as you know. I think you've apologized for it. But I think it was a terrible thing to say. And when it comes to stop and frisks, you're talking about taking guns away. Well, I'm talking about taking guns away from gangs and
this is all right.
And I don't think,
start off with your local legislator.
This, if you want to know the truth, I think maybe there's a political reason why you can't say it, but I really don't believe. In New York City, stop and frisk, we had 2,200 murders.
Here he is with the stop and frisk.
Brought it down to 500.
It wasn't cool because the people there are stopping and frisking are just black and Hispanic men, and mostly just men.
To 500. And it was continued on by
that's what's being stopped and
it was
frisked.
terminated by Clark Mayor. But stop and frisk had a tremendous impact on the safety of New York City.
And here he is digging himself a hole.
So when you say it has no impact, it really
I don't even try. I haven't carried a weapon since my days in the military. I carry no weapon whatsoever. I would hate to be stopped and frisked.
You're wrong.
No, I'm
Murders
not.
are up. All right,
New York has done an excellent job, and I give credit across the board, going back to mayors, to police chiefs, because it has worked, and other communities need to come together to do what will work as well. Look, one murder is too many, but it is important that we learn about what has been effective and not go to things that sound good that really did not have the kind of impact that we would want. Who disagrees with keeping neighborhoods safe? But let's also add, no one should disagree about respecting the rights of young men who live in those neighborhoods. And so we need to do a better job of working again with the communities, faith communities, business communities, as well as the police, to try to deal with this problem.
This conversation is about race, and so Mr. Trump, I have to ask.
But I'd like to just respond, if I might.
Please, 20
I'd just like to respond.
Please respond, then I've got to
I will. Look, the African American community has been let down by our politicians. They talk good around election time, like right now. And after the election, they said, see you later, I'll see you in 4 years. The African American community, look, the community within the inner cities has been so badly treated. They've been abused and used in order to get votes by Democrat politicians, because that's what it is. They've controlled these communities for up to 100 years, Mr. Trump. Unbroken. And I will tell you, you look at the inner cities, and I just left Detroit, and I just left Philadelphia, and I just, you've seen me, I've been all over the place. You decided to stay home, and that's okay. But I will tell you, I've been all over, and I've met some of the greatest people.
Yeah, right. He's doing the same thing. There's no difference.
And they are very, very upset.
At least he's telling you he doesn't give a fuck about black people and brown people or whatever. He doesn't give a fuck. He's telling you what he is. These Democrats like fucking Hillary are just trying to hide it up. Let's work with the black churches, and let's work with the community, and the community work together, and work together with the community and the black churches. And it's all a bunch of bullshit.
The nation's first black president was not a natural-born citizen. You questioned his legitimacy. In the last couple of weeks, you acknowledge what most Americans have accepted for years: the president was born in the United States. Can you tell us what took you?
I'll tell you very simple to say. Sidney Blumenthal works for the campaign and very close friend of Secretary Clinton. And her campaign manager, Patty Doyle, went to, during her campaign against President Obama, fought very hard. And you can go look it up, and you can check it out. And if you look at CNN this past week, Patty Solis Doyle was on Wolf Blitzer saying that this happened. Blumenthal sent McClatchy, highly respected reporter at McClatchy, to Kenya to find out about it. They were pressing it very hard. She failed to get the birth certificate. When I got involved, I didn't fail. I got him to give the birth certificate. So I'm satisfied with it, and I'll tell you why I'm satisfied with it. Because I want to get on to defeating ISIS. Because I want to get on to creating jobs. Because I want to get on to having a strong border. ISIS. Because I want to get on to things that are very important to me and that are very important to the country.
I'll let you respond. It's important, but I just want to get the answer here. The birth certificate was produced in 2011. You continued to tell the story and question the president's legitimacy in 2012, 13, 14, 15, as recently as January. So the question is, what changed?
Well, nobody was pressing it. Nobody was caring much about it. I figured you'd ask the question tonight, of course. But nobody was caring much about it. But I was the one that got him to produce the birth certificate, and I think I did a good job. Secretary Clinton also fought it. I mean, now everybody in mainstream is going to say, oh, that's not true. Look, it's true. Sidney Blumenthal sent a reporter. You just have to take a look at CNN.
See, Trump's sometimes embarrassing himself. Right now, it's embarrassing himself.
and she was involved. But just like she can't bring back jobs, she can't produce.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to fall down. I will let you respond to that because there's a lot there, but we're talking about racial healing in this segment. What do you say to Americans?
Well, it was very, I'd say nothing. I'd say nothing because I was able to get him to produce it. He should have produced it a long time before. I say nothing. But let me just tell you, when you talk about healing, I think that I developed very, very good relationships over the last little while with the African American community. I think you can see them. And I feel that they really wanted me to come to that conclusion. And I think I did a great job and a great service, not only for the country, but even for the president in getting him to produce his best.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, just listen to what you heard. And clearly, as Donald just admitted, he knew he was going to stand on this debate stage and Lester Holt was going to be asking us questions. So he tried to put the whole racist birther lie to bed. But it can't be dismissed that easily. He has really started his political activity based on this racist lie that our first black president was not an American citizen. There was absolutely no evidence for it, but he persisted. He persisted year after year because some of his supporters, people that he was trying to bring into his fold, apparently believed it or wanted to believe it. But remember, Donald started his career back in 1973 being sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination because he would not rent apartments in one of his developments to African Americans, and he made sure that the people who worked for him understood that was the policy. He actually was sued twice by the Justice Department. So he has a long record of engaging in racist behavior. And the birther lie was a very hurtful one. You know, Barack Obama is a man of great dignity, and I could tell how much it bothered him and annoyed him that this was being touted and used against him. But I like to remember what Michelle Obama said in her amazing speech at our Democratic National Convention.
Oh my God.
When they go low, we go high. And Barack Obama went high, despite Donald Trump's best efforts to bring him down.
Mr. Trump, you can respond, and we're going to move on
I
to
would
the
love
next
to
segment.
respond. First of all, I got to watch in preparing for this some of your debates against Barack Obama. You treated him with terrible disrespect. And I watched the way you talk now about how lovely everything is and how wonderful you are. It doesn't work that way. You were after him. You were trying to, you even sent out, or your campaign sent out pictures of him in a certain garb, very famous pictures. I don't think you can deny that. But just last week, your campaign manager said it was true. So when you try to act holier than thou, it really doesn't work. It really doesn't. Now, as far as the lawsuit, yes, when I was very young, I went into my father's company, had a real estate company in Brooklyn and Queens, and we, along with many, many other companies throughout the country, it's a federal lawsuit, were sued. We settled the suit with no admission of guilt. It was very easy to do, but they sued many people. I noticed you bring that up a lot, and I also noticed the very nasty commercials that you do on me in so many different ways, which I don't do on you. Maybe I'm trying to save the money, but frankly, I look at that and I say, isn't that amazing? Because I settled
Right, so fresh.
that
The
lawsuit
Clintons are
with
racist.
no admission of guilt.
They all
But
are.
that was a
I
lawsuit
mean, most of
against
these people
many
are. They
real
don't
estate
care
firms.
about black
And it's just
people.
one of those things. I'll
It's
go
not
on
in their
one step
best
further.
interest to care about
In
black
Palm Beach,
people.
Florida,
It
tough
doesn't
community,
do them well to care
brilliant
about black or
community,
brown
and
or
wealthy
poor
community,
people,
probably
white
the
or
wealthiest
black or brown
community
or
there is
white.
in the world.
It does them no
I
good to
opened
think
a
of these
club,
people. None of these
and
people. Any
you
of
only
these
got great
people.
credit for it.
Any of these
No
congressmen
discrimination
and
against African
senators
Americans,
and
against
mayors,
Muslims,
they don't give a
against
shit.
anybody.
It's not in their
And
best interest
it's
to
a
care about
tremendously
minorities
successful
or
club,
poor
and
whites,
I'm
blacks,
so
or
glad I did
others.
it. And I have been given great credit for what I did, and I'm very, very proud of it. And that's the way I feel. That is the true way I feel.
Our next segment is called Securing America. We want to start with a 21st century war happening every day in this country. Our institutions are under cyber attack, and our secrets are being stolen. So my question is, who's behind it and how do we fight it? Secretary Clinton, this answer goes to you.
Well, I think cybersecurity, cyber warfare will be one of the biggest challenges facing the next president, because clearly we're facing at this point two different kinds of adversaries. There are the independent hacking groups that do it mostly for commercial reasons, to try to steal information that they then can use to make money. But increasingly, we are seeing cyber attacks coming from states, organs of states. The most recent and troubling of these has been Russia. There's no doubt now that Russia has used cyber attacks against
I don't think
all
Jay Life
kinds
is
of
here.
organizations in our country, and I am deeply concerned about this. I know Donald's very praiseworthy of Vladimir Putin, but
I know, right? He
Putin
might
is
just go
playing
fucking
really
all the way
tough,
bald.
long
I don't know why
game.
he's holding on to that shit.
And one of the things he's done is to let loose cyber attackers to hack into government files, to hack into personal files, hack into the Democratic National Committee. And we recently have learned that, that this is one of their preferred methods of trying to wreak havoc and collect information. We need to make it very clear, whether it's Russia, China, Iran, or anybody else. The United States has much greater capacity, and we are not going to sit idly by and permit state actors to go after our information, our private sector information or our public sector information. And we're going to have to make it clear that we don't want to use the kinds of tools that we have. We don't want to engage in a different kind of warfare, but we will defend the citizens of this country. And the Russians need to understand that. I think they've been treating it as almost a probing. How far would we go? How much would we do? And that's why I was so shocked when Donald publicly invited Putin to hack into Americans. That is just unacceptable. It's one of the reasons why 50 national security officials who served in Republican information in administration have said that Donald is unfit to be the commander-in-chief. It's comments like that that really worry people who understand the threats that we face.
Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes in the same question.
Yeah, I do want to say that I was just endorsed, and more are coming next week. It'll be over 200 admirals, many of them here, admirals and generals endorsed me to lead this country. That just happened, and many more are coming. And I'm very proud.
Patricia.
In addition, I was just endorsed by ICE. They've never endorsed anybody before on immigration. I was just endorsed by ICE. I was just recently endorsed 16,500 Border Patrol agents. So when Secretary Clinton talks about this, I mean, I'll take the admirals and I'll take the generals any day over the political hacks that I see that have led our country so brilliantly over the last 10 years with their knowledge, okay? Because look at the mess that we're in. Look at the mess that we're in. As far as the cyber, I agree to parts of what Secretary Clinton said. We should be better than anybody else, and perhaps we're not. I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia, 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 but I don't, maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay? You don't know who broke in to DNC, but what did we learn with DNC? We learned that Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of by your people, by Deb Wasserman Schultz. Look what happened to her. But Bernie Sanders was taken advantage of. That's what we learned. Now, whether that was Russia, whether that was China, whether it was another country, we don't know. Because the truth is, under President Obama, we've lost control of things that we used to have control of. We came in.
He knows enough about
came up with
business.
the
He knows that
internet,
China runs.
and I think Secretary
America.
Clinton and myself would agree very much when you look at what ISIS is doing with the
not
internet.
China breaking in. China
They're
runs
beating
America.
us at our own game. ISIS. So we have to get very,
Israel.
very tough on cyber and cyber
East.
warfare. It is a huge problem. I have a son. He's 10 years old. He has computers. He is so good with these computers. It's unbelievable. The security aspect of cyber is very, very tough. And maybe it's hardly doable. But I will say we are not doing the job we should be doing. But that's true throughout our whole governmental society. We have so many things that we have to do better, Lester, and certainly cyber is one of them.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I think there are a number of issues that we should be addressing. I have put forth a plan to defeat ISIS. It does involve going after them online. I think we need to do much more with our tech companies to prevent ISIS and their operatives from being able to use the internet to radicalize, even direct people in our country and Europe and elsewhere. But we also have to intensify our air strikes against ISIS and eventually support our Arab and Kurdish partners to be able to actually take out ISIS in Raqqa and their claim of being a caliphate. We're making progress. Our military is assisting in Iraq, and we're hoping that within the year we'll be able to push ISIS out of Iraq and then, really squeeze them in Syria. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that they've had foreign fighters coming to volunteer for them, foreign money, foreign weapons. So we have to make this the top priority. And I would also do everything possible to take out their leadership. I was involved in a number of efforts to take out al-Qaeda leadership when I was Secretary of State, including, of course, taking out bin Laden. And I think we need to go after Baghdadi as well, make that one of our organizing principles, because we've got to defeat ISIS and we've got to do everything we can to disrupt their propaganda efforts online.
You mentioned ISIS, and we think of ISIS certainly as over there, but there are American citizens who have been inspired to commit acts of terror on American soil. The latest incident, of course, the bombings we just saw in New York and New Jersey, the knife attack at a mall in Minnesota, and the last year, deadly attacks in San Bernardino and Orlando. I'll ask this to both of you. Tell us specifically how you would prevent homegrown attacks by American citizens, Mr. Trump.
Well, first I have to say one thing, very important. Secretary Clinton is talking about taking out ISIS. We will take out ISIS. Well, President Obama and Secretary Clinton created a vacuum the way they got out of Iraq, because they got out, well, they shouldn't have been in, but once they got in, the way they got out was a disaster. And ISIS was formed. So she talks about taking them out. She's been doing it a long time. She's been trying to take them out for a long time. But they wouldn't have even been formed if they left some troops behind, like 10,000 or maybe something more than that. And then you wouldn't have had them. Or, as I've been saying for a long time, and I think you'll agree because I said it to you once, had we taken the oil, and we should have taken the oil, ISIS would not have been able to form either, because the oil was their primary source of income. And now they have the oil all over the place, including the oil, a lot of the oil in Libya, which was another one of her disasters.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I hope the fact checkers are turning up the volume and really working hard. Donald supported the invasion of Iraq.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
wrong.
Proved over and over again.
Wrong.
He actually advocated for the actions we took in Libya and urged that Gaddafi be taken out after actually doing some business with him one time. But the larger point, he says this constantly, is George W. Bush made the agreement about when American troops would leave Iraq, not Barack Obama. And the only way that American troops could have stayed in Iraq is to get an agreement from the then Iraqi government that would have protected our troops. And the Iraqi government would not give that. But let's talk about the question you asked, Lester. The question you asked is, what do we do here in the United States? That's the most important part of this. How do we prevent attacks? How do we protect our people? And I think we've got to have an intelligence surge where we are looking for every scrap of information. I was so proud of law enforcement in New York, in Minnesota, in New Jersey. You know, they responded so quickly, so professionally to the attacks that occurred by Rahami.
This is easy for her.
And they brought him down. And we may find out more information because he is still alive, which may prove to be an intelligence benefit. So we've got to do everything we can to
the only way is Donald Trump can win in the debate
That
is
means
not
we've got
to
work
embarrass
more
himself.
closely with our
That's how he
allies.
wins. He wins
And
the
that's
debate when
something
he
that
doesn't
Donald has
embarrass
been
himself.
very dismissive
He
of.
embarrassed
We're
himself
working with
earlier.
NATO, the
Of
longest
course, you know,
military
Hillary
alliance in the history of
insults
the
black
world,
people.
to really turn our attention to
The whole
terrorism.
black
We're working
bullshit
with our
church
friends in the Middle
nonsense.
East, many of which, as you know, are Muslim majority nations. Donald has consistently insulted Muslims abroad, Muslims at home, when we need to be cooperating with Muslim nations and with the American Muslim community. They're on the front lines. They can provide information to us that we might not get anywhere else. They need to have close working cooperation with law enforcement in these communities, not be alienated and pushed away, as some of Donald's rhetoric, unfortunately, has led to.
Mr.
Well, I'd have to respond.
Please respond.
The secretary said very strongly about working with. We've been working with them for many years. And we have the greatest mess anyone's ever seen. You look at the Middle East, it's a total mess. Under your direction to a large extent. But you look at the Middle East, you started the Iran deal. That's another beauty, where you have a country that was ready to fall. I mean, they were doing so badly. They were choking on the sanctions, and now they're going to be actually probably a major power at some point pretty soon, the way they're going. But when you look at NATO, I was asked on a major show, what do you think of NATO? Now, you have to understand, I'm a business person. I did really well, but I have common sense. And I said, well, I'll tell you, I haven't given lots of thought to NATO, but two things. Number one, the 28 countries of NATO, many of them aren't paying their fair share. Number two, and that bothers me because we should be, as we're defending them, and they should at least be paying us what they're supposed to be paying by treaty and contract. And number two, I said, and very strongly, NATO could be obsolete because, and I was very strong on this, and it was actually covered very accurately in the New York Times, which is unusual for the New York Times, to be honest. But I said, they do not focus on terror. And I was very strong, and I said it numerous times. And about 4 months ago, I read on the front page of the Wall Street Journal that NATO is opening up a major terror division. And I think that's great. And I think we should get, because we pay approximately 73% of the cost of NATO. It's a lot of money to protect other people. But I'm all for NATO. But I said they have to focus on terror also. And they're going to do that. And that was, believe me, I'm sure I'm not going to get credit for it, but that was largely because of what I was saying and my criticism of NATO. I think we have to get NATO to go into the Middle East with us, in addition to surrounding nations, and we have to knock the hell out of ISIS, and we have to do it fast. When ISIS formed, in this vacuum created by Barack Obama,
created by George Bush. George Bush created the war, folks. This is the war done by George Bush. This is,
they sat back probably and said,
the hostilities.
They said, no, wait a minute.
We've covered
when they formed, this is something that never should have happened. It should have never happened. Now, you're talking about taking out ISIS, but you were there and you were Secretary of State when it was a little infant. Now it's in over 30 countries. And you're going to stop them? I don't think so.
Mr. Trump, a lot of these are judgment questions. You had supported the war in Iraq before the invasion. What makes your judgment?
I did not support the war in Iraq.
2002.
That is a mainstream media nonsense put out by her, because she, frankly, I think the best person in her campaign is mainstream media.
My question is, since
would you like to hear?
Why is your
the war. Wait a minute. I was against the war in Iraq, just so you put it out.
The record shows otherwise.
The record does not show that.
Why is your judgment?
The record shows that I'm right. When I did an interview with Howard Stern, very lightly, first time anyone's asked me that, I said, very lightly, I don't know, maybe, who knows, essentially. I then did an interview with Neil Cavuto. We talked about the economy is more important.
This guy's embarrassing. Trump's embarrassing himself now. He's embarrassing himself.
I had numerous conversations with Sean Hannity at Fox.
Howard Stern, he's going to bring it to a presidential debate.
He called me the other day.
No offense to Howard. I'm a fan of Howard Stern.
He said you were totally against war because he was for the war.
Why is your judgment better than?
And that was before the war started. Sean Hannity said very strongly to me and other people, he's willing to say, but nobody wants to call him, I was against the war. He said, you used to have fights with me because Sean was in favor of the war. And I understand that side also, not very much, because we should have never been there. But nobody called Sean Hannity. And then they did an article in a major magazine shortly after the war started. I think in '04, but they did an article which had me totally against the war in Iraq. And one of your compatriots said, you know, whether it was before or right after, Trump was definitely, because if you read this article, there's no doubt. But if somebody, and I'll ask the press, if somebody would call up Sean Hannity, this was before the war started, he and I used to have arguments about the war. I said it's a terrible and a stupid thing. It's going to destabilize the Middle East, and that's exactly what it's done. It's been a disaster.
My reference was to what you had said in 2002, and my question was, why is your judgment any different than Mrs. Clinton?
Well, I have much better judgment than she does. There's no question about that. I also have a much better temperament than she has. You know, I have a much better. She spent. Let me tell you.
He's embarrassing himself. This is what they didn't want. They didn't want him to come on here and embarrass himself.
You know,
He's exactly done that. He's embarrassing himself now.
I think my strongest asset, maybe by far, is my temperament. I have a winning temperament. I know how to win. She does not have how to win. Wait.
He's falling to pieces now. He's really unraveling. The more he talks, the more he unravels.
I don't know who you were talking to, Secretary Clinton, but you was totally out of control. I said, there's a person with a temperament that's got a problem.
Secretary Clinton.
Woo, okay.
Yep, she's feeling good about herself right now because she's doing great.
Let's talk about two important issues that were briefly mentioned by Donald.
Really fall to pieces, my God.
You know, NATO, as a military alliance, has something called Article 5, and basically it says this: an attack on one is an attack on all. And do you know the only time it's ever been invoked? After 9/11, when the 28 nations of NATO said that they would go to Afghanistan with us to fight terrorism, something that they still are doing by our
I'm sorry,
side.
Patricia. Bye-bye, Patricia. Jeez, sorry about that.
When I became Secretary of State, Iran was weeks away from having enough nuclear material to form a bomb. They had mastered the nuclear fuel cycle under the Bush administration. They had built covert facilities. They had stocked them with centrifuges that were whirling away. And we had sanctioned them. I voted for every sanction against Iran when I was in the Senate, but it wasn't enough. So I spent a year and a half putting together a coalition that included Russia and China to impose the toughest sanctions on Iran. And we did drive them to the negotiating table.
Zico, I think that you're not. I don't think Trump isn't on his game tonight. Trump is falling to pieces. A lid
on Iran's nuclear program without firing a single shot. That's diplomacy. That's coalition building. That's working with other nations. The other day, I saw Donald saying that there were some Iranian sailors on a ship in the waters off of Iran, and they were taunting American sailors who were on a nearby ship. He said, you know, if they taunted our sailors, I'd blow them out of the water and start another war. That's not good judgment. That is not the right temperament to be commander-in-chief, to be taunted. And the worst part of what you heard Donald say has been nuclear weapons.
Zico says he's doing better than most times. I say
he didn't care if other nations got nuclear weapons. Japan, South Korea, even Saudi Arabia.
I have to give you that.
It has been the policy of the United States, Democrats and Republicans, to do everything we could to reduce the proliferation
looks like
of
a broken
nuclear weapons.
man's posture tells it all.
You know, if there were nuclear war in East Asia, well, you know, that's fine. You know, have a good time, folks. And in fact, his cavalier attitude about nuclear weapons is so deeply troubling. That is the number one threat we face in the world, and it becomes
I was already exhausted. That's the end of the show.
If terrorists ever get their
I'm
hands
going
on any
straight to
nuclear
bed
material.
after
So a
this.
man who can be provoked by a tweet should not have his fingers anywhere near the nuclear codes, as far as I think anyone with any sense about this should be concerned.
It's getting a little bit old, I must say. Listen,
It's a good one, though.
I would like
well describes the problem.
It's not an accurate one at all. It's not an accurate one. So I just want to give a lot of things in this case. I agree with her on one thing. The single greatest
He looks
problem
terrible.
in the world is nuclear armament, nuclear weapons. Not global warming like you think and your president thinks. Nuclear is the single greatest thing. just to go down the list, we defend Japan, we defend Germany, we defend South Korea, we defend Saudi Arabia, we defend countries. They do not pay us, but they should be paying us because we are providing tremendous service and we're losing a fortune. That's why we're losing. We lose on everything. You say, who makes these? We lose on everything. Well, I said that it's very possible that if they don't pay a fair share, because this isn't 40 years ago where we could do what we're doing. We can't defend Japan, a behemoth, selling us cars by the minute.
We need to move on.
Wait, but it's very important. All I said was they may have to defend themselves or they have to help us out. We're a country that owes $20 trillion. They have to help us out. As far as the nuclear is concerned, I agree. It is the single greatest threat that this country has.
Which leads to my next question as we enter our last segment here still on the subject of securing America. On nuclear weapons, President Obama reportedly considered changing the nation's long-standing policy on first use. Do you support the current policy? Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes.
Well, I have to say that, for what Secretary Clinton is saying about nuclear with Russia, she's very cavalier in the way she talks about various countries. But Russia's been expanding. They have a much newer capability than we do. We have.
All right, folks. Need to tell you what I think.
I looked the other night. I was seeing B-52s. They're old enough that your father, your grandfather could be flying them.
What Trump wanted to do here, what his people wanted to do was, he's not going to win a debate against Hillary Clinton.
I think that
what they want from him is to not embarrass himself, to be okay, I'll be all right.
Some of these countries,
but he came out and he embarrassed himself.
China should go into North
Arguing
Korea.
with the moderator isn't going to help.
Powerful as it relates to North Korea. And by the way, another one powerful is the worst deal I think I've ever seen negotiated that you started is the Iran deal. Iran is one of their biggest trading partners.
I think I'm going to finish this up.
But they made that horrible deal with Iran.
I'm probably going to lose the show anyway, but we'll see. Hopefully I won't, but maybe I probably will.
To North Korea. And they should have done something with respect to Yemen and all these other places. And when asked to Secretary Kerry, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you add other things into the deal? One of the great giveaways of all time, including $400 million in cash. Nobody's ever seen that before. That turned out to be wrong. It was actually $1.7 billion in cash. Obviously, I guess, for the hostages, it certainly looks that way. So you say to yourself, why didn't they make the right deal? This is one of the worst deals ever made by any country in history. The deal with Iran will lead to nuclear problems. All they have to do is sit down 10 years, and they don't have to do much, and they're going to end up getting nuclear. I met with Bibi Netanyahu the other day. Believe me, he is not a happy camper.
All right. Mrs. Secretary Clinton, you have 2 minutes.
Let me start by saying words matter. Words matter when you run for president, and they really matter when you are president. And I want to reassure our allies in Japan and South Korea and elsewhere that we have mutual defense treaties and we will honor them. It is essential that America's word be good. And so I know that this campaign has caused some questioning and some worries on the part of many leaders across the globe. I've talked with a number of them, but I want to, on behalf of myself, and I think on behalf of a majority of the American people, say that, our word is good. It's also important that we look at the entire global situation. There's no doubt that we have other problems with Iran, but personally, I'd rather deal with the other problems having put that lid on their nuclear program than still to be facing that. And Donald never tells you what he would do. Would he have started a war? Would he have bombed Iran? If he's going to criticize a deal that has been very successful in giving us access to Iranian facilities that we never had before, then he should tell us what his alternative would be. But it's like his plan to defeat ISIS. He says it's a secret plan, but the only secret is that he has no plan. So we need to be more precise in how we talk about these issues. People around the world
promote my show on Tommy's chat.
Campaigns so closely, trying to get
that's
hints
taking advantage of the situation that probably could, but I just wouldn't feel comfortable as a man
lead the world with
doing that with a friend's show, so I'm not going to do that.
I intend to be a leader of our country that people can count on, both here at home and around the world, to make decisions that will further peace and prosperity, but also stand up.
These guys are just talking shit out of their ass right now. This is no plan. They say these shit all the fucking time. There's no plans, and whatever plans it is, it sounds good on paper. And none of this shit happens. It don't work out.
Very quickly.
I will go very quickly, but I will tell you that Hillary will tell you to go to her website and read all about how to defeat ISIS, which she could have defeated by never having it, get going in the first place. Right now, it's getting tougher and tougher to defeat them because they're in more and more places, more and more states, more and more nations.
Mr. Trump.
And it's a big problem. And as far as Japan is concerned, I want to help all of our allies. But we are losing billions and billions of dollars. We cannot be the policemen of the world. We cannot protect countries all over the world where they're not paying us what we need.
We have just a few final
She doesn't say that because she's got no business ability. We need heart, we need a lot of things, but you have to have some basic ability. And sadly, she doesn't have that. All of the things that she's talking about could have been taken care of during the last 10 years, let's say, while she had great power. But they weren't taken care of. And if she ever wins this race, they won't be taken
Mr. Trump, this year, Secretary Clinton became the first woman nominated for president by a major party. Earlier this month, you said she doesn't have, quote, a presidential look. She's standing here right now. What do you mean by that?
She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. I said she doesn't have the stamina. And
wow, he's just gonna go out. He's just gonna change all the words around now. He looks like a bad liar when he does that.
Wait a minute, let me ask me a question. Did you ask me a question? You have to be able.
Now he's grasping for straws right now. He's falling to pieces.
That's
he's
right.
Awful.
With Japan, with Saudi Arabia. I mean, can you imagine that we're defending Saudi Arabia, and with all of the money they have, we're defending them, and they're not paying? All you have to do is speak to them. Wait, you have so many different things you have to be able to do, and I don't believe that Hillary has the stamina.
Let's let her respond.
Well, as soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
The world, let me tell you.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He shouldn't say stuff like this. This is nuts.
But it's bad experience. We have made so many bad deals during the last. So she's got experience, that I agree. But it's bad experience. Whether it's the Iran deal that you're so in love with, where we gave them $150 billion back, whether it's the Iran deal, whether it's anything you can name. You almost can't name a good deal. I agree. She's got experience, but it's bad experience. And this country can't afford to have another 4 years of that kind of experience.
We are at the.
We can't have you. I mean, Donald Trump sounds like a mess.
One thing, Oscar, is, he tried to switch from looks to stamina. But this is a man who has called women pigs, slobs, and dogs. And someone who has said pregnancy is an inconvenience to employers, who has said women don't deserve.
He doesn't even know what he says anymore.
Job as men. And one of the worst things he said was about a woman in a beauty contest. He loves beauty contests, supporting them and hanging around them. And he called this woman Miss Piggy. Then he called her Miss Housekeeping because she was Latina. Donald, she has a name.
Where did you find
her name is Alicia Machado.
Where did you find
and she has become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good. Let me just tell you.
Mr. Trump, you take 10 seconds and then we'll have the final question.
Hillary is hitting me with tremendous commercials. Some of it said in entertainment. Some of it said somebody who's been very vicious to me, Rosie O'Donnell. I said very tough things to her, and I think everybody would agree that she deserves it, and nobody feels sorry for her. But you want to know the truth? I was going to say,
boy, you couldn't even let that go.
Extremely rough to Hillary, to her family, and I said to myself, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's inappropriate. It's not nice. But she spent hundreds of millions of dollars on negative ads on me, many of which are absolutely untrue. They're untrue and they're misrepresentations. And I will tell you,
he's going to lose the presidency if he continues like this. There's no way he's going to win the debate.
But it's certainly not a nice thing that she's done.
Nuts.
It's hundreds of millions of ads. And the only gratifying thing is I saw the polls come in today. And with all of that money, over $200 million is spent. And I'm either winning or tied. And I've spent practically nothing.
One of you will not win this election. So my final question to you tonight, are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voters? Secretary Clinton?
Well, I support our democracy. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I certainly will support the outcome of this election. And I know Donald's trying very hard to plant doubts about it, but I hope the people out there understand this election's really up to you. It's not about us so much as it is about you and your families and the kind of country and future you want. So I sure hope you will get out and vote as though your future depended on it, because I think it does.
Mr. Trump, very quickly, same question. Will you accept the outcome as the will of the voters?
I want to make America great again. We are a nation that is seriously troubled. We're losing our jobs. People are pouring into our country. The other day, we were deporting 800 people, and perhaps they passed the wrong button, they pressed the wrong button, or perhaps, worse than that, it was corruption. But these people that we were going to deport for good reason ended up becoming citizens. And it was 800, and now it turns out it might be 1,800, and they don't even know.
Will you accept
Look, here's the story. I want to make America great again. I'm going to be able to do it. I don't believe Hillary will. The answer is, if she wins, I will absolutely support her.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us.
Well, see, even him,
for this evening, a spirited one.
I wouldn't even say like she's very polished.
Next
Just stop screen sharing.
is scheduled for October 9th in Washington
Let's
University.
stop screen sharing.
And
I'll get back to me. There I is.
Las Vegas, the conversation.
I wouldn't even say if Hillary wins, I will support her. I wouldn't even say that. I would have said I will follow whatever the American people decide to do. Like, I wouldn't give her their name. In a way, he's already conceding that he's probably going to lose. I want to see the end.
First presidential debate of this campaign season is in the record books. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump taking questions for.
Donald Trump don't want to shake his hand.
It went a little bit long.
That's the hope.
And we see them now shaking hands.
That's the hope. He just shaved his head.
And now we expect them to.
You did a good job, Hillary.
On these nights.
I don't know who has sex with him. Who looks him in the face and has sex with what's his name, Donald Trump?
This is the most abnormal event I've ever witnessed. This was not a normal political debate. Let's not sit here and pretend we saw something that is a quadrennial occasion here. This was a surreal.
They don't know. Wow, it was ugly. I think his people know that they didn't do well. And look, his family, the Clinton family, these are seasoned politicians. They got their own little power thing going on, the Clintons. They have their own little power vacuum. You know, they're not like the, Rockefellers or the Kennedys at one point, but they are a powerful little group of people, the Kennedy clan.
Tougher and tougher for Trump, and
look, they know. Yeah, he looked creepy as fuck. They know how to smile, even though Clinton's got that strange smile on her face. You see that Trump family? They know they didn't do well. They know Daddy fucked up. The old man fucked up. I know Hillary's feeling pretty good. She's going to win these debates. What the other people want is, again, they don't want Trump to be horrible. Today was horrible. He took a beating.
I'm with you there.
He looked lost. He looked small-minded.
That's what the first spontaneous
I say,
moment in a debate audience that I
Clint,
remember thing was when he said,
I'm turning this shit off. Sorry. Let me turn this shit off now. I say you can use Donald Trump in some capacity to build businesses, I guess. You can't have him at the wheel, and then that means it's the same thing again. It's Bill Clinton running the country again. Not all bad, but some horrific things has happened on his watch. Hillary is going to have Bill Clinton as a consigliere, as his number two. I mean, I know she's going to have the vice presidency, but Bill Clinton is going to be the vice president of this country. Ain't no mistake about it. Now, I don't know if they're sleeping in the same beds anymore. I don't know what goes behind the scenes. I know that she trusts him immensely with policies and public opinion, and the people around the Clintons are the same people that was around Bill. It's going to be the same people, maybe not directly, but indirectly the same people around Hillary. They're going to use the people they trust. And that's scary in a lot of ways. Quite frankly, folks, none of this shit is really going to be helpful to any of us. It's not going to make a difference. Usually what makes a difference is policies that are set by the presidency that eventually filters down to local governments, local communities. The big picture stuff, stocking weapons, building up your army, able to put out the agenda or the idea that of running its agenda. So, and I always say this, and I say this all the time, and I say this now, and I said this last week, and I said this last year, last month. Local government is where you will find the biggest and best and more immediate change ever, whenever that happens. I mean, you can change the policies of the police, of the sheriff's office, depending on where you live at, the police commissioner, lawyers, treasurers, people, state managers, town managers, mayors. You can get, and it doesn't take a lot. It takes, let's say I live in a poor. I know I'm gonna use the community I live in right now. All right, it's not terribly rich, not a rich community. It's low. It's, I guess, middle class. There's some rich areas, middle class where I live at. There's a area of poor as well. So it's kind of a hosh-mosh. It's more low middle class community, because there's not too far from here, very rich areas, very rich. Like I'm talking $1 million rich, not just 1 million, but millions of dollars rich area where I'm at, where I'm sort of around. But there's again a population of poor. To make changes here, and we don't, it's mostly white. It's a white area here. Some black, some Hispanic, mostly white. Low middle class. To make changes here, you would just simply we would get a bunch of people who run businesses who get together and say, hey, listen, I want you, Bobby Shoemaker, I want you to run for treasurer. And then I'm going to take you, RPJ. You're going to run for, well, I would run for mayor. My ego says that I should be mayor. And I would win mayor, but Bobby Shoemaker would win whatever, and he would start lining things up as treasurer. I, as mayor, would try to get people that will run my policies. I want to affect poor. I want to affect the local communities. I want to change whatever kind of mindset, because I'm also going to be helping promoting the new sheriff of town. Like, hey, this is the new sheriff, and his policies will be anti. We will not be racial profiling the poor blacks or poor whites around here. We're not going to profile them as just junkie bums, losers, criminals. No, we're going to do our best to get poor people. So that's how you would affect change. You can affect change faster by taking local offices, assemblymen, mayor, treasurer, city managers, stuff like that. That's how you affect change faster and in your communities. You need to get together with people you are like-minded like you and come up with your candidate and then your backup candidate. And make sure that you vet out your candidates. Make sure you understand who your candidate is. Find out all their skeletons and figure out how they'll work out. If it's a bad skeleton, see if we can work this out by bringing this to it. Hey, listen, tell me what about this? 1978, I got arrested for marijuana. Okay, well, we can work past that. I just want to know what it was, so we can. That's going to come up when when you vote for these positions, treasurers and mayors and all that shit. Those strange things will always come up. Anyway, I think you just got to get together with like-minded people of your community to come up with a candidate and see if that candidate obviously wants to be part of the process, and put that candidate through, and you vote him in to mayor, sheriff, treasurer, city managers, assemblymen. Whatever the case may be, whatever those little offices are, because those offices dictate direct change to the people. So with all that being said, and what all this stuff means is nothing is going to happen. This is always the same nonsense. The Hillary with the nonsense of the black churches and the black communities. We get together with them, and we will make programs better, and we will work with the poor and the disadvantaged blacks and blah, blah, blah. The church will fix all this shit out. When I heard that, it was one of the most insulting bullshit things I've ever heard in my fucking life. And it's the same bullshit you hear every fucking 4 fucking years. And in some cases, you hear it every 2 years. And just vote locally. Vote the right guy. Get with the right people, and because that's what do you think those rich white people? And let's be fair. What do you think those rich white people who maybe run their own businesses? What do you think they're doing? They have the person that they want in office. They got together with a bunch of other people and say, hey, listen, you're our guy, Bob Shoemaker. Bob Shoemaker, you're our guy, right? Bob Shoemaker. My white guy impression. All right, Bob Shoemaker, you're gonna be our guy. You want to do this, right? Yeah, I want to do this. Yeah, of course. Hey, I'm an Italian New Yorker. Like, hey, all right. So all right. So you want to do this job? We're gonna make you mayor. We're gonna put our money behind you, Bobby Shoemaker, and just give us a little tax break here on this and that. That's how it's done. That's politics. And if it's done like that on a local level, what do you think is being done on a big level? It don't fucking matter. I say, you gotta try though. You gotta make your vote mean something. It has to try. You gotta try. But it don't fucking matter. But you gotta have hope that it does. But I'm talking about the presidency. I'm not talking about locally. Locally, It's everything. This is just bullshit. It's nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Nothing will get done for the little poor person. It's the middle. You could affect change if you were so emboldened to get together with other people and veto certain products, boycott certain products. Ow, oh, my muscles cramped. Anyway, folks, I'm exhausted. I gotta change the name to this to the presidential debate or exhausted presidential debate. I'm exhausted. Um, and I'm gonna get up around 6 or 6. I might sleep into like 8 tomorrow. Oh, I can't sleep until 8 tomorrow. Shit, I forgot. Clients. Well, one before tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday, right? Yeah, all right. Tomorrow's Tuesday. All right. Anyway, somebody hit me up online. I obviously don't know this person, so I'm going to. Although she's very pretty, somebody hit me up online. She's very pretty, but I don't believe she's human. God is love, so we need to love our fellow humans to be like Him. I wish you all a lovely day. This is what a young lady sent me. She has no pictures. I don't know how the fuck. I got her to be a fuck. Get the fuck out of here. What am I doing here? She's not a fucking friend of mine. I don't know this woman. Unfriend. So if you're gonna hit me up later, and by the way, I already got my own problems and issues and situations, and I'm pretty set with ladies anyway. Thank you, So Fresh or Clean. Thank you, Beasley, for stopping by. Thank you, Zikos. Thank you, guys. I can remember everybody who popped in. Blackthorn Romeo, Mrs. Blackthorn Romeo. It's been awesome. You guys stopping by, and everybody else who popped in and was part of the show. I really appreciate it. You guys sticking with me. I need not only sleep, I need rest. So, with that being said, folks, I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll be working on my show a little bit earlier, so that way you guys know. And I'm gonna try to plan out shows for the week, of course. And I actually have a show that I'm going to do. And it's something phenomenal. And anyway, you'll see. I need to do more work on it. So, anyway, folks, I thank you guys for stopping by and checking me out. My name is RPJ. This has been the RPJ Show Live. And hopefully the show will still be up. I like to keep all my shows up. They're not all award-winning shows, but the quality of the work has been great. Keep subscribing, keep liking and sharing, subscribing to the show. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is RPJ. This has been a wonderful show. Thank you. See you when I see you again. Let's see, I can play some outgoing music. If I can remember this album, outgoing music. Outgoing music. This is the RPJ Show Live. 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 Presidential debate I was doing with puppets. Maybe I might play like the presidential debate and do it puppets, but I might need like a mouth puppet, like something that like open their mouths. This is the RPJ show, folks. Thank you. Was the RPJ show. Good night, seagulls. Oh, sorry, the camera's still on. All right, folks. Good night, everybody. Good night, John Boy. 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 Good night, Jonathan Steele. Good night, Paul Jones. Good night, RPJ. I like this mix. It's pretty good. I have to listen to it. I mean, the camera's on. I was just listening. Watching a little bit of the Saints game right now. Saints, Falcons. Actually, I watched a lot of it. I believe I took Atlanta this game, so I got stuck to my picks. So Atlanta is blowing them out. 45-25. This is the RPJ show live. RPJ show live. What a nice catch on the RPJ show. It is the RPJ show. It is the RPJ show. It is the RPJ show. Jonathan's still in the house. Jonathan's still in the house. There it is. No, that's not it. Jonathan still. Classic RPJ, classic RPJ, classic RPJ. Check out the many incarnations of RPJ. This is the RPJ show. This is the RPJ show. This is the RPJ show. Live. This is the RPJ show. This is crazy. This is nuts. Looking at the show notes. Looking at the show notes. There's a message book full of ideas and stuff and information. I'm gonna mix this with this and put it in other books. I'm gonna write it all out. Document it. I'm gonna do a good job. I'm gonna do more news. I'm gonna be authentic and genuine. Not like genuine, the person. Genuine as an ability, as a expression, as a way of conducting myself. This is the RPJ show. This is the RPJ show. What the fuck am I doing, right? Cool song, I think. I like the remix. Just gonna finish this one song out, and then I'm gonna get out of here. I think, maybe. Make sure you press the like, share, subscribe button. So this is the RPJ show. Good night, everyone. My name is RPJ. This is the RPJ show, live edition, or live. This is a remix version of Radiohead Optimistic. The original song sounds great. It's just like beats had it all over it. I think this is pretty good right here. This I might take this one right here. Break this one down. I like this one a lot. I didn't like all the other ones. Radiohead's a great band. By itself is great. See you, folks.